Hey everybody, I'm TJ Major, spotter of the 6 Cup car, the 8 Xfinity car, and it's so awesome. We've replaced Brett with...
You want to say
What's
his
up?
name?
What's Freddie Kraft?
No, not Freddie.
For Bubba. We have Brett. He's gone. He's still in Vegas trying to lick his wounds. Freddie Kraft, spotter for Bubba Wallace. Casey, what's up? Give me 1 second before we introduce our guest. How are you?
I'm swell. How are you?
You are slow?
swell.
Oh, I thought you said slow.
Here we go
I thought
again.
you said I can't hear that good.
Sup?
So fresh off our trip to Vegas, I tried to set this guy up for failure a couple weeks ago. It was his 40th birthday. And I said, hey, why don't you come on the show on Monday morning? Because I knew what he didn't know, which I found out later that he did know, was that he was having a surprise birthday party on Sunday night. And I was going to be like, if I'm going to be hungover because of Regan's birthday party, Regan Smith needs to be hungover with me. So what's up, buddy?
Doing good. Glad to be here with you guys finally. I appreciate you trying to set me up a few weeks ago. Fortunately for me, I'm not good with surprises, and I kind of knew it was all coming, and thought it was odd. I'm like, why does Freddie want me to go on this Monday at 9 a.m.? I'm like, I'm not going to be able to see straight at 9 o'clock on this Monday, and yeah, I probably would have made you look good.
And guess what? Guess what would have happened? We neither one of us were seeing straight that Monday morning. I don't think it's.
Or showed up.
But that Monday morning,
I was here.
I was still awake that Monday morning from the night before, I think. So it was a good time though. 40 hurts. The hangovers hurt a little worse.
I say this all the time. Somebody asked me when I turned 40 last year, like, do you feel 40? I said, no, I feel 60. I act 20, so it balances out better.
Your liver feels 80.
Yeah, but so Vegas, first of all. First and foremost, I think TJ, our Dirty Mo, what the hell was the name of it? Dale Jr. and Friends live show.
Dirty Mo Media is the name of the company.
Dirty Mo. Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I just haven't seen a check in a while, so I haven't. I'm starting to forget. But yeah, man, what a phenomenal, marvelous, terrific. I don't know, Andrew,
Yeah.
can throw me a couple more time we had on
Spectacular.
the
Westgate.
Friday night.
Yeah, the Westgate
Where were
was-
you? You should have dragged your ass out to Vegas.
What I'm trying to figure out is I saw a picture on X or whatever it's called now, and y'all's faces were on the side of the Westgate. Like, what does the world come to?
I know,
mean,
I saw
Agreed.
that.
were they that desperate that they put y'all's mugs on there?
Apparently.
I woke up. I stayed at the Westgate on Thursday night and might have gone out too late with a friend of ours
You?
named Tim Duggar, and that was a really bad idea. And the first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was the marquee with our picture. I was like, "Oh no, we got to do that tonight. I got to do this all over again." But man, it was quite the time. What a
Yeah, it was fun.
What a crowd we had. It
I
was-
would also like to congratulate you, Freddie, because you showed up the most hungover I've ever seen you, to the point where you actually warned the first few rows.
Front row.
Yeah, like that you might. I mean, you
Well,
might
we were
not make it.
Throw up
we
on
were
them.
trying to figure out the first. We had a VIP package and then a VVIP package, and the VVIP package was the front row. And we were trying to figure out what that second V stood for,
Yeah,
and
is it very, very, very?
I thought it
what
was going to be vomit because
Oh,
we were going to. Me and Brett had a plan to come out there and do a shot, and I'm like, Brett, I don't know if I could do it. Like I was back there trying to
Wait,
survive.
What time did you tape at?
We started at 7.
Dude, and you were still that hungover.
It was the worst hangover of my
He
life.
walked
maybe.
in and was like, I don't feel good.
And then Duggar called me that night, and he's like, I think that this is also the worst hangover I've ever had, which is our own fault because me and him drank espresso martinis like dumbasses for some reason. And
Pinky's out?
Yeah,
or what?
pinky's out. Like, I don't know what the hell we were thinking. So that was a problem. But then, yeah, we got out
You
there.
guys ordered those?
We rallied back a little
Like,
bit.
just straight up ordered them?
Oh, yeah. It's like, it's his favorite thing to do. I don't know what happens to him at some point, but he's like, we just go straight from beer to espresso martinis, and
Classic.
I'm never doing it again. It's over. Like, that game has been played. It's done.
TJ, how'd you feel on stage? Were you on the struggle bus, or were you good?
No, I was good. I had
I kind of knew the answer when I asked.
Yeah.
I figured
they
I'd
had
try.
been they had been practicing since Tuesday night or whatever out there. So I mean, they went him and Brett. What did you go Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, they went on Tuesday. And I
We had to
was
get
worried.
acclimated to the time.
We had a list of people that we were going to get to sub for them if they didn't make it.
We did actually at lunch. We were thinking about that.
Got to cover all your bases.
Well,
you know, plan ahead.
I mean, hell, it's half the time, Freddie. We don't know where he's at during the show here. So.
off. So Regan Smith.
Hold on, we can't let Brett off this easy, by the way.
Okay.
Agreed.
Like, you guys are all here, traveled back, got back from Vegas, late night.
So his,
Brett just bails on the show.
So his issue is now he has to fly commercial. He's finding out with some of these guys. He's got to fly commercial. You can't fly with the teams anymore.
They don't have red eyes?
So they got red eyes, but by the
No.
time they don't let drunk people on planes. So by the time he would have gotten there, it would have not went well. He was sending me updates last night. He was at the Sphere. I guess he went to the Sphere last night. So, but yeah, he's still in Vegas, which is better off for all of us, honestly. Like, we don't need him here talking.
I just got to
like,
judge his commitment. He's not here, so I can say it now at this point.
His
what the
commitment
hell,
level is
Brett?
low. This isn't the first time. In Nashville, he's like, I'm just going to stay a day. You guys go record. Like, we're low on his list.
Yeah.
We are low on his
But
list.
what's up with Regan Smith these days? What do you got going on, brother?
A little bit of everything, right? Kind
Yeah.
of jack of all trades, master of none. is
You
the way I
are a
like to-
jack of all trades. I will give you that.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that statement. I mean, obviously we've got the Fox stuff going on and FS1, and the second part of the year gets a little bit quiet for us. Do some of the truck races. I was at Talladega 2 weeks ago, and be at Homestead this week, and Phoenix in 3 weeks now, I guess. If my math's
no
correct.
Martinsville.
So once we get through that, we still have the Race Up Studio show that we do every day, and Race Day show. Occasionally I help out with that and involved in that, and get to be a dad the second part of the year. It's kind of strange.
Would you rather have the first half of the year or second half of the year? Which one do you like off more?
I don't have a preference.
If the Broncos were good, you'd probably like to say.
We're about 10 years away from the Broncos being good. And I do get a kick out of Freddie wearing his Giants hat right now after
I wore this on
after
purpose.
what took place.
I tell
Actually,
everybody
they played good last night.
No, they didn't. But I think they played bad.
They played good in terms of them.
I think they played bad. We didn't play very good.
I think both of them played pretty bad, honestly.
But I tell everybody, I get all the time because I'm wearing Mets and Giants hats, and they're like, I can't believe you're wearing that. I'm like, if you're gonna wear it when they are winning, you better wear it when they're losing.
That's true.
So that's what it is. What it is. I'm a diehard Giants fan. I love the Giants, and I was actually happy that it didn't win because I'm of the opinion if you're not gonna make the playoffs, don't win a game.
Just tank. But to answer your question, TJ, I don't think there's a preference, right? There's something cool about going and getting to do the Daytona 500. And,
Yeah, the Daytona 500 is a big one.
Just still being there and being a part of that. And I don't know, for me, the TV thing's perfect because I'm still involved with the sport. I still get to see everybody that I know, everybody I grew up with, everybody that I've been around for all these years, and I kind of get a nice mix the second half of the year. I can have a little bit more leadway on the weekends and stuff like that to do other things that take up life and that are of interest to me. And I will say the tough part about doing the first part of the year, all you guys move around, right? Like, we got to know spotters, crew chiefs, drivers. We got to know who's in what. And we basically get a tune-up at the Clash, a tune-up during the dual races, and then we're doing the biggest race of the year immediately. And I've got spreadsheets of drivers and crew chiefs and spotters and apparently spotter. You guys move more than drivers do is what I've come to learn. And as I'm looking at these spreadsheets, I'm like, I am definitely gonna mess this up at some point during the biggest race of the year. But by the end of our season, you finally start to memorize that stuff, and it's muscle memory, and then we turn it over, and NBC takes it over.
I have really bad news for you. There's like
this year's
15
crazy.
spotter changes next year. So.
Are we going to share that, or are we going to wait?
No, because I don't think the spotters have shared the news with everybody, but there is a lot. I would say there's like 6 or 7 for sure that I know of. Right
Why,
now. I mean,
why
that's
more this year than normal?
we talked about on here. One team stepped up and started paying some people, so people wanted to go there to work, so they got out of their deals to go over there, and so that kind of domino effect.
Well,
one guy moves, and that means somebody else has got to move, and
The whole landscape changes whenever that happens.
So
and
there's literally, I could probably think 7 or 8 right off the top of my head right now that are done deals and or guys getting out that are leaving for sure, and there's searching around. There's going to be new blood. It's going to be interesting, but yeah, when you get there, there's going to be. I'll run you through them when this is over, but there's going to be a lot.
I might start a couple weeks earlier than I normally do to make sure I get it all right this year.
there's a handful this year, a little more than normal, I think.
Yeah, more than normal for sure.
You know what's crazy is we have that first wave of silly season, right? It happens, and you hear all the stuff, and once that first wave happens, then the second wave. But it's not drivers, it's not teams anymore. It's crew chiefs, it's guys within the team, it's pit crew guys. Like, that's all turning into part of silly season, and it's crazy how it's evolved over the years to where it just we're seeing crew guys move a lot now too, or over the wall guys, I should say, more so than crew guys. But it keeps happening. Like you think it's almost done, and then boom, here comes the next wave of it, and okay, that's done. Now we got the Xfinity. Now we got truck. It's just nonstop.
Yeah, obviously we feel our job's important, and especially now the way restarts are, it feels like you're plate racing every race on a mile and a half anyway for restarts.
Is this a sales pitch
This
right
is a sales
now
pitch.
for more money?
More money, yeah. I just need more money always, Danny, if you're listening. But even the over the wall guys, the pit stops are so fast now. So I looked yesterday and I think like 3/4 of our pit stops were under 10 seconds. So and if you're a 10.7 versus a 10.1, a 9.7 versus a 9.1, like that's huge. That's a big difference on pit road. So that's why you're seeing these guys go out and get the best pit crew guys, or the best spotters, or the best crew chiefs, or the best engineers, whatever it is. The people are realizing the margin of error is so tight in our sport right now, with everything being the same, that you need to have the best of everything up there if you're going to succeed.
So you need all A's.
Yeah, all A's. I mean, now, so you're obviously not working the Cup Series, but are you catching most of the race? Do you watch any of the race? You kind of recap? I mean, obviously you're not going to sit there and watch 4 hours, I don't think, every Sunday.
No, actually, I do. Believe it or not, I do. And I'm not saying this because I'm sitting here now. We're talking about the race that happened yesterday at some point, but I would say 90% of them, I watch them live and I watch them straight through. There's a few of them, if we got my little boy's into golf and he golfs a lot on Sundays in tournaments. And so if I'm taking him and caddying for him, I'll tape the race. But I make a point, I won't look at my phone. I'll stay off of social media and everything because I want to watch it and not know anything that's taken place. I want to watch it to make sure, other than fast forwarding through the commercials or whatever, that I absorb everything I'm seeing, so I'm forming my own opinion on it, not somebody else's opinion, not something that that I saw outside of what actually is on camera or what I'm witnessing. And so I watch them all 100% of the way through, and occasionally I got to catch one on tape, like the Xfinity race. We had something going on Saturday, so I had to watch.
You didn't miss
tape.
Much there. It was just Riley.
Oh, Riley dominated.
Kicking the out of us for a couple hours.
I haven't seen an Xfinity car drive away like that in a long time. Riley did a great job. The car was awesome.
What did you think of the Cup race, just overall product yesterday?
I thought it was a good race. I mean, there was passing, there was guys battling. It seemed like tires were wearing for the most part. Maybe not, as much as you like to always see, but it seemed like they were wearing from everything I could tell. And by the end of runs, there was guys hanging on. I mean, Kyle Larson at the end of the race, it looked like he was hanging on right at the end of most runs. And what I thought was most interesting, like you brought up the pit crews, right? And 9.1 to 9.7. So he takes the lead on that final pit stop with I think that was the times, right? I think he was like a half second quicker on pit road than Christopher Bell on that particular stop. Gains 2 spots. That's the pass to win the race. And Cliff Daniels immediately says afterwards on TV, or not, on his radio, what a team effort. And I think that just shows to me, as we can be mad about, maybe there's not as much passing every week as we want, or maybe some races don't look as good as we want them to, the short tracks in particular. It's becoming more of a team sport because of all that, and that's why you're seeing the importance on this other stuff. And I don't hate that. I think that we need to highlight the pit crews that do a good job. Obviously the driver, he's the one that you see the most, but these guys are, what they're doing is pretty spectacular, and you're talking fractions of an inch away from a tire coming off and getting 2 weeks off, or having the best pit stop of the day. I mean, they got a lot of pressure.
You talk about clutch moments. 8.7, the final pit stop time on the 5 car. The 20's a 9.0.
I think ours loses the lead. I think ours was an 8 something.
Yeah.
Your guys have been. They've been.
We had one pit stop where I actually told Brad to slow down. Don't even push it in the pit road.
Your last stop was an 8.5.
Yeah, stupid.
But it was like that earlier this year too. Like when I look at this, I don't look at all that stuff quite as much the second part of the year, but the early part of the year. That 16 was,
our
one of the
crew.
standouts.
Your pit crew didn't have a 9-second stop yesterday. Not one. 8.7, 3.0 is 2 tires, I assume. 8.6, 8.7, 3, 8.9, 8.5.
That's ridiculous.
Look at the result, though.
And that's why you ran top 5 the whole race, or the second half of the race. But yeah, I mean, I thought the race was okay. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was fine. There's nothing wrong with the race. It was, you could see guys get out front. Like if Bell cycled to the lead, he maintained it. Then I was good to see him at the end of the race be able to run Larson down and race with him a little bit. But it was a little bit harder to pass, I think, than places like Kansas were, or some of the mile-and-a-half races we've had. But it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. The only thing I had a question about, which I don't want this to happen because I love going out there, but I'm starting to wonder if Vegas isn't a candidate for one race, because the crowd in-house isn't great. And we've seen this now. We go back places one time versus going there twice. You kind of pack the place. So I don't know. But I just love going out there so much that I don't want to forfeit a second race.
You don't
want to give that one up. I love going out there, but this might be a candidate for a place where we only need to race there one time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the football game hurt the crowd yesterday, though, too.
Really?
Fair.
I mean.
Yeah,
but how
it was 2 hours
later.
later.
How do you plan against that either?
You can't.
I mean,
we don't know.
Our schedule comes out way before the football
right.
schedule.
So
does.
it's almost like you have no choice in that instance.
Yeah, I think the race was pretty good. There was guys on edge. Obviously, I mean, Larson lost it at one point.
God, what a! I mean, I don't know if it's a save or is it? I mean, he hits the wall. That's what
I think it's both.
Yeah,
man.
a little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, how like?
Do you think he?
I don't personally call that luck. I call that a save.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not luck. That's a bad word to use.
He was driving that car the whole time.
I guess he's lucky at the part of the corner where it stepped out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But like as far as like saving it and getting back rolling, only losing like what 3 spots, 2-3 spots, if that.
Well, on the topic of Kyle, I mean him running his rookie test at Indy and passing with flying colors. I mean, what does that do really for the sport and other sports in general?
The guy's ridiculous.
Yeah.
In 1 week, he won a sprint car championship of a 11 race series.
Yeah.
He passed his rookie orientation at Indianapolis going 218 miles an hour.
Faster.
And then he goes and locks himself into the final 4 of the Cup Series. Like, if you
I wonder if he gambled.
like,
all
I
out
don't
there.
know what
Did he win that?
do.
I don't know. I don't know if you want to. If you're winning everything else.
I mean, it was like what he's accomplished in this era, generation, whatever you want to call it, is unbelievable. Honestly,
He needs to be a little careful though, because I could see him. He started fading off of us a little bit. He was a little faster the first 10 laps, 15 laps, and then he wasn't quite as quick as that part of the race. But I could see him overdriving it. Like he got loose a couple times before, and they're just like you got to finish that race. If you wreck right there, like if say he spins all the way up, hits the inside wall, he's probably done
and out of the playoffs.
So like when he's driving on that razor edge, like he probably doesn't need to be at that point.
I'd like to know what Cliff Daniels was really thinking, right? Not what he put on the radio when he's so calm, cool, and collected. When he's talking to him, we see your car, it looks fine, no big deal, and all this. But he had to be sitting in that moment thinking, holy we about just threw this whole thing away right now.
And it's
yikes.
not worth it at that point in time.
I think one thing that I wanted to ask you guys about that I heard out of them guys yesterday, which was, we saw this with Logano last year, wins Vegas, goes out and wins Phoenix. They come out and say, we're not going to just solely focus on Phoenix. We're gonna
have a shot at clearing it up. You'll talk better.
we're gonna we're still wanting to go to Martinsville and Homestead and kick everybody's ass. If you guys were in this situation, would you make a lap or run a simulation for anywhere besides Phoenix coming up?
I mean, I think you have to go back to one thing also that we were talking about 2 seconds ago before I answer that. In terms of Kyle Larson and what he's doing, right, across all different series, all types of car, there's times where I don't think he gets enough credit. And I know he gets a ton of credit for it, but to look at when he hops in something he's never been in, how good he goes, whether it was when he did the dirt late model stuff, which is completely different than anything else on dirt that he's been driving up until that point. He wins, 3 races in or 2 races in against all the best in the world at that. I have made the argument for quite some time now. I feel like Kyle Larson is the best in the world. I don't think he's just the best runner. I think he's the best in the world.
We've said that on here a couple times.
And I would love to live in a world where we could put that to the test, right? Go get a F1 guy. Go get somebody that, the V8 supercar guys and find a way. And I know that there's a race of champions that exists and that it kind of can try and figure that out. But his capability and anything, and I say this after being on the racetrack with him, right? And seeing him when he was younger and as he's evolved and as he's grown, he's something special. Like we're seeing something that is generational and compared whoever you want to compare it to, maybe AJ Foyt or whatever the best comparison is. I don't know what it is, but it is something that definitely needs to get appreciated.
And to your point, not only that, like not only does he just is unbelievable, phenomenal, terrific, marvelous on the racetrack, what he does off the racetrack is just as special. You know, he goes to these dirt races and stands there with hundreds of people behind his trailer and signs autographs all night. What him and Brad are doing for the purses in the sprint car series is unbelievable. You know, I think I seen the other day where they ran, I think it was 11 of those races, and they paid out over $1 million in purse money. So, you know, it's stuff like that off the track. You know, I'm sure you know him. You go, you know, he's easy guy to sit down and have a drink with and bullshit about racing. Like it's just, you know, everything he does right now on the track and then even off the track, just, you know, promoting the sport and trying to make everything better. You seen him last year sit out the Chili Bowl because they didn't pay enough money, and guess what happens this year? They double the purse, you know, or they double the winner's purse anyway. So, you know, things he does is helping, and it not only helping himself, he's trying to help grow the sport in general.
Right.
But to back to that, so, you know, obviously we seen Logano last year they talked about, you know, we won Vegas and then went straight to work on Phoenix. He goes to Phoenix, and him and Blaney were the two best cars there that day. You know, I don't know. Obviously you're going to go out there and race, and there's ways, you know, you might want to affect the guys that win races that you have to race at Phoenix. But if I'm these guys, I'm going to the simulator, and I'm having my engineers run every sim possible, known to man, to get my stuff as good as it possibly could be when we get to Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, you can go, TJ.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to work on that Phoenix car they're going to be already working on it now, but like, I don't think these next two races are just, you know, throwaways. I still think, I mean, obviously they're going to prepare for them, but I don't know if they will. He just won't have the urgency. You know what I mean? These next two races, he's going to go out and race, and if it works out good, like.
But at a Homestead where he's typically really good.
Kyle Larson's 7 out of 10 at Homestead is better than most people's 10 out of 10. So, I mean, that's all he's got to do.
Him and Reddick will be probably the two best at running the wall this week, I think. You know, Truex is good.
Bell will be good again.
Bell's all right. He doesn't run the wall as good as some of the dirt guys do, like where you'd expect him to, because that seems like the correlation there.
He was doing it yesterday.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see. You know, and honestly, Kyle, now it's almost like it's more dangerous for us at Homestead because he doesn't care. Like, he can just rip the fence now. He might kill us this week just because he doesn't have to worry about stepping over the line.
You know, I think that there's a reason why the past two champions have been the guys that win the first round or first race of the round of 8, right? And say what you want to say, but you're stacking so finite amount of items on this new car that if you have those 2 extra weeks to just really dive into it, maybe it's even running extra simulation laps, right? Like when we're talking millions of laps in simulation that these guys are running on this stuff, if you can run 2 million laps compared to somebody else that runs 1 million laps, you're getting more dialed in, more perfected on them, every little aspect. And it may be something as simple as, you know, just a thousandth of an inch that matters. But if you do a thousandth of an inch on 10 different spots, okay, well, that starts to add up. So I think that gives them an advantage. I do think you still want to go and run good in these next two. If you don't, it really doesn't matter because you already know what the prize is, right? And to think that they're not going to go to Homestead and run good, that's crazy. He's going to be fast there, right? He won Martinsville earlier this year, so he's probably going to be fast there again also. The one thing that I think could be interesting is, let's say he's in position at let's just say Martinsville, right? And he's got the lead, and you know, somebody could point their way in. Like, I don't know if you ever get this far out in front of your skis to think about this, but if somebody could point their way in that maybe he doesn't want in, and somebody's behind him that he does want in that's not as good at Phoenix, and you think, well, if I just slip up in this corner, they win this race, they're going to battle in Phoenix, and they might not. Otherwise, you can still dictate a few things as you see fit for your team when it gets to that championship race, because at the end of the day, 2 more wins are great, right? But there's only one that really matters.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, we've said it on here before, Vegas is, in my opinion, the 3rd most important race of the season. Yeah. You've got Daytona, you've got Phoenix, and then this is this race here. You know, you can talk all you want about the Crown Jewels. The Crown Jewels don't get you championships, and this race and Phoenix are the 2 races that we've seen, like you said, the last 2 years. This is what dictates who wins the championship, or at least who races for it. So, you know, it's interesting to see. And I'll tell you what, we were looking at the points. I don't know if Andrew has it in here, but pretty crowded with the JGR crowd at the cut line. How do you think those? I think it's like, I'm pretty sure Martin and Denny are tied, and
Flip your page around.
And Bell's 2 back. Is that right?
Denny's 4 up,
He's
Martin's
3
3
back.
up, and Bell's 3 back.
Blaney's penalty changed some
Oh,
things.
okay.
Yeah, which do we want to go ahead and address that now?
Yeah, he got disqualified.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Okay. What I was getting at were challenges for playoff drivers. Obviously, Truex made it very clear that he wasn't thrilled yesterday, and Blaney with this disqualification, which I think is the second driver to get DQ'd in the playoffs. What does this mean? Is Blaney essentially out of it now?
He's must win. He's got to win.
He's must win. I'd make the argument that Blaney and Buescher were probably must win even before this race. As bad as that sounds, I think that somebody was going to put themselves in a situation that they were in a insurmountable hole after this race. I didn't anticipate it was going to be based on a disqualification, but that's how it went down. I think that, if anything, maybe it makes it a little easier because they don't have to worry about points now. They just worry about how do we go out and win the race.
How do we win
and no offense to Ryan, because I think he's a great race car driver. The Penske cars have not shown the speed that they need, in particular at the 1.5 miles, right? And I know he won Charlotte, but obviously, they're pushing the limits on stuff, and they knew they had to.
And talk about them guys being must win. When you get to the round of 8 here, and I saw it firsthand on Saturday with Chandler, we came into the race, we were 11 points out of the 11 points off the cut line. We ran 2nd and 6th in the 2 stages, 4th in the race, and lost 4 points. It's like, what?
How does this happen?
You see the same thing. You got guys like Danny and Martin getting 40 and 35 points in the race and losing ground, so if you're going to be on it, you have to be on it in this round of 8. You can't just run I shouldn't say mediocre. If you run top 10 in each back half of the top 10 in each stage and finish top 10, you're probably losing points to people in in this round of 8. So you've got to there's no what Martin's done the last 2 rounds of, I just skate through with a couple 15th, 16th place finishes, whatever it was. That's not going to work this round.
We have a spot-on topic on exactly what you just said there.
Good, perfect.
No, but it's a good point.
But I know I seen, of course, Martin a little frustrated. That was a questionable pit call for sure. I love James Small. Like, I love that guy to death. But that seemed, and what he was doing was trying to save a set of tires for the end of the race. But that seemed like a call that would more fit something like we would do, or a non-playoff team that has some speed.
Yeah,
because
34,
listen,
something like that.
to explain it, we had 8 sets of tires yesterday.
Right.
So you're going to make 6 pit stops. I think
Naturally,
you're going to make 2
6.
per stage, and that leaves you with 2 sets of tires sitting there. I mean, we made 7 pit stops yesterday.
A lot of yellows.
You get a lot of yellows. Now you got to make a decision. The only thing I didn't love about the call was making it to start a stage. I think that we just had. It's like, this is why I say it's a good plan for somebody not in the playoffs, because we had a caution with 15 to go in the second stage. That would have been the time to save a set of tires. I know I'm probably gonna lose a little bit of track position here.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have a set banked in, and then, but you start a stage and then we run out. We saw, it was like 35 laps before somebody had a tire issue. So, you're gonna run out that stage or that run, whatever it is, you don't know how long you're going. So that's obviously where they got way behind. We were racing about 15th. We passed them on that run, and then they never seemed to really. They got back up, and so whatever it was, 8th or 9th, but they never really recovered from that, staying out right there.
Yeah, we put scuff rights on and went back out and lost. The guys that got us all had 4 tires, but we only fell to like 4th or 5th or something like that. But it was those early cautions, I think, put more of a. They definitely mattered because people were. It's like, oh, we used a lot of tires here in the first part of this race, so we tried to save a set for. We actually had a set left, which probably most guys up front did.
We had 1 set left.
Yeah, so.
But they had 2.
As much as it's easy to sit here and say, oh, should have done this, should have done that, I think what, in my mind, when I watched it happen, a couple things. He figured some guys in the back, like you said, were going to stay out and take that same risk, and they didn't. If you get 3 or 4 cars up there as a buffer, you stretch a little bit of a lead. Now, now you don't pay quite as big of a price. Maybe you get to lap 20 before you start losing all those spots. And he did drive out, for a little bit when they were side by side. He got the lead, and it looked okay briefly. The other thing that I'm curious about, and I haven't talked to James obviously, but I'd be curious if he wasn't looking at, Martin seemed like he had been complaining about all day long. The car wouldn't fire off, it wouldn't take off. And I almost wonder if that was the best opportunity to see, okay, maybe it's just because of the air. Maybe if we get out front, maybe our car will fire off and it'll take off great. and it didn't work. I don't hate trying something.
Yeah.
And I do think, obviously long runs, he was pretty good.
And
on
the
long runs.
flip side of it, if the race plays out a little different at the end, he's a genius.
Yeah.
That's why I said
different conversation.
it's risky, and I think it's probably a little maybe too risky for what you got going on with your scenario. But I was surprised more teams didn't do that, especially at that caution with whatever it was, 12 or 15 to go in the second stage. That more teams didn't say, all right, you know what, if I'm going to ever bank a set of tires, here's the perfect opportunity, because now I know I'm only going to run 15 laps, and then I'll have a set sitting there for late if we get a rash of cautions in that final stage, which we didn't. We only got one or two, I think. But it was a risky play, and I listen, they went for it, and what they did, I think the riskiest play that they've made all year was shaving their beards off, because they haven't run well since. This is the best run they've had since then, I think.
Yeah.
You gotta have a beard. This time of year, you got to have a beard. I mean,
they got them now, but they shaved. They play hockey playoff beards, so they went clean shave for Darlington, and then
the beard gods were not
the beard
happy.
gods were they're pretty pissed off apparently.
Well, before you head into spot on, spot off, I obviously want to bring up the NASCAR TV deal in the future. As of this morning, SBJ reports that TV execs still don't know when they expect a new deal. Any rumors, thoughts on that one?
Yeah, Regan's got all. What do you got on this, Regan? Just,
I
know you've been.
say,
I know
I'm
you've been
looking at
sitting.
both of you guys
I know you've
waiting.
been
You just
sitting in on the
wanna-
negotiations.
Listen,
it is a fact that the spotters know more of what's going on in the sport than anybody else. So help us
Or
out,
they
guys.
think they know.
Well, yeah, that's half the battle, though. If you
Yeah.
think you know, then
I'd
Yeah.
like to nominate
take the narrative.
I'd like to nominate the Spire guys to negotiate our deal.
No kidding.
That's the first I had heard of that. I think we're all sitting here wondering when's this going to happen or what's going to happen. To me, last I had heard, there was some other stuff that was happening too, right, with the owners that I think is probably equally, if not more important, at the end of the day. And it's, I don't know. I don't know what's holding the TV deals up, and quite honestly, I don't ask because I don't want to know, because then I can't get myself in trouble. So that's the easiest way for me to do that and kind of defer that one. But it does appear that there's other stuff going on. Like if you listen to what people say, and I'm not there week to week right now to be able to really hear all this stuff. But you just kind of listen to, even when people are giving interviews and talking, there's got to be some other stuff taking place.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's a lot of balls in the air. You see a lot of shows out in Vegas, and there's juggler. There's a lot of balls in the air that it's TV deal, the charter deal, the owners. What kind of cut are they going to get? What kind of cut are the track's going to get? It seems like it's everybody's trying to juggle everything at once, and hopefully it all falls back into place.
What I don't know is if you just put your business hat on for 10 seconds, right, and you look at all the TV charters, all these balls that are in the air. I don't know how one gets done without the other. Like if one's not done, then how can this one happen?
Yeah, absolutely.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's almost like everybody's going to have to be in the same room at the same time and agree on everything and lock it down all together, whatever it may be, and make it happen. Because to me, the charter deal is a pretty big deal. If not the biggest deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Experience the thrill of a racetrack like you're in the driver's seat with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Bet on your favorite racers and feel the rush of every pass, pit stop, and victory like never before. Right now, new customers can turn $5 into $200 instantly in bonus bets.
Bet 5 on anything to score big, no matter what goes down on the track.
So, Brett, we're heading to Homestead this week. This is a racy track. There's a couple guys that we know are really good there, Larson, Reddick, but this is an important race to try to get your spot in the Final Four.
There's only one guy locked in. Chance for the other 7 to lock in, punch your ticket, win, and you're in. And this is a place where running the high groove, TJ, is a big, big deal.
Yeah, running the high groove is a big deal here, but there's also guys that love to spoil the party. So I know me and Freddie would love to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
With props, parlays, and more, there will be action to follow all race long. The racing action doesn't stop till the checker flag drops. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and join with code CLEAR.
New customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. That's code CLEAR. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
All right, well, let's head into spot on, spot off. First topic, Dale Jr. says you can't just run well and advanced in the round of 8, saying a flawless performance is required to advance into the championship 4. Spot on, spot off, Regan.
Can't just run. Say that one more time for me here.
So you can't just run well and advance. Basically, you're yeah, I mean, it has to be flawless.
Yeah, like that 9th place
I
Martin
think-
got just isn't.
Yeah,
it's
being
not gonna keep going.
consistent overall.
I think that's spot on. I mean, I don't, I think we saw it yesterday. Freddie, you just mentioned it a minute ago in terms of the Xfinity stuff, that you can have what you think is a perfect day and still lose points right now. And I think that's spot on. And I do think it should be spot on, right? Like, we've got the last 8 guys left for a reason, and it's because they've been the best and because they put themselves in that position. And, to expect that first through 8th is going to be anything other than the 8 guys in the playoffs right now, I think would be a mistake. Those are the guys that are going to rise up and find a way.
Aside from Ryan Blaney, everybody else is in the top 10.
Right.
The other 8 guys were in the top 10 of yesterday's race. I'm sure they all got stage points, probably every stage or close to it. As we just talked about it on here. Chandler, like I said, finished 2nd, 6th, and 4th, and lost ground. And just because you had one guy win, and then they get such an advantage, and especially the Xfinity Series too. Them guys all run. It's the same guys up front. But then you come and see this, and this is when you're supposed to step up, and these guys are doing it. And you're going to see it again this week, and you're going to see it again at Martinsville. You're going to have to go out and run top 5 every stage and top 5 in the race if you're going to point your way in. And Larson wins this, so that takes 1 spot. It's potential only one guy's going to get on points. I think it'll probably be 2, I would think, but you never know. Like, it could be there's a guy like Reddick could easily go out there this week, and he still needs 16 points. He's back. So even if he goes out there and wins both stages and wins the race, and somebody finishes second, or like Danny runs right behind him, he's not making up 16 points there even. So it's like
it's gonna be hard to make that up. So you gotta go, and I think Tyler's weekend to get to the championship 4, his path to championship 4 starts this weekend. This is it.
This is kind of like us at Talladega. We dropped the ball at Talladega. We're not good at Talladega, and we
did too.
Yeah, that was our play. Our round kind of hinged on Talladega, to where now this is Tyler's opportunity. Tyler is obviously very good at Homestead. He won 2 Xfinity championships there just by being better than everybody at running the wall. And this is his opportunity. If he comes out of here still 16 down or doesn't gain much, he's going to have to go to Martinsville and win. Like, that's going to be a must-win at Martinsville.
You say your round hinged on Talladega, and then you went out to the Roval, and Bubba's up front at the Roval.
Yeah,
who saw that coming?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if
you guys legit won that race, had everything falling the way
but it's just that we put ourselves in a hole going into where we had to run Talladega. We had to run the Roval for points versus if we were to the good, or if we finished 10 spots better like we should have at Talladega, we might have been able to run a little bit different. But this is a round for Tyler. Now this is the one Tyler's got to have circled, and he's got to go out there and he's got to win every stage and be up front at the end.
Here's the crazy part. I don't like, as you look down the list of these guys, right? All right, William Byron won at Homestead. Denny Hamlin won at Homestead. Martin Truex Jr. won at Homestead. Bell, we know he's going to be good. Does he run the wall, to your point earlier, as good as some of the other guys there? Maybe not, but I know he's been working on it, right? And he's been getting better at it. Reddick, we know he's going to be good. Busher, you guys remember a couple years ago, Busher looked like he was going to win that race. I think we ran it in the springtime, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he was.
And it was it was a Fox race, and he looks like he could have won that race at one point or another. Blaney, you never know. What? Obviously, the cars haven't been as good for him as they'd probably like, but if they get the car right, he could go win there. Like, it just, all 8 of these guys could win this race, and none of them would we be sitting here next Monday saying that's a surprise. Yeah. So now all of a sudden your points shuffle, completely different, and that cut line could shift. If it's one of the guys below the cut, it shifts again.
Yeah.
For sure.
Christopher Bell says, that was my moment to make the championship 4, and I didn't capture it. Was this his best shot? Spot on, spot off, Freddie.
Obviously it's his best shot when he's on the guy's bumper coming to the checker, but I don't think this wasn't. I think he did what he had to do yesterday. He went out there, performed, got stage points, ran top 5, top 3 really all day long, and now has set himself up. I think he came out of Vegas last year in a big hole and had to go out and win, and did. But this just sets him up. He can go now. He's going to run good at Homestead. Like, don't get it wrong. If I say he's not as good as Kyle Larson, which by the way nobody is at running the wall. So but he's going to be fine here, and he runs good at Martinsville. So he came out here. I get what he's saying. He probably there was some I seen where he said something about he got kind of stuck behind a couple of lap cars at one point and gave up some of the gap, and it stings when you get stuck for a lap and lose a little bit of time, and then you end up on the guy's bumper. Like you could have done something differently. So obviously, I think at the moment he's knowing that all I had to do was get ahead of that guy, and I'm in the championship versus now being 2 points out or 3 points out, whatever it is. It's unfortunate for him, but I think he's going to be fine. He's got plenty of speed. That he just has to limit mistakes like he's had in the past. Of we've seen, I say on here before, Christopher Bell spins out a lot. Like if he steps over the line, it's easy for him to step over the line sometimes. So if he can stay within himself and go back and do what he did yesterday and get top 3 stage points, top 3 in the race, he'll probably jump that cut line coming out of Homestead. And then he's going to go race straight up at Martinsville.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that was his chance. That was obviously it was the chance to make it a lot easier. But he still has some good tracks coming up, and he's only 3 points out. So
3 out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right in the mix of things right there. And oh man, I mean, I look at these guys that are Byron, Denny, Truex. These guys don't really have any bad tracks coming up.
No.
So it's gonna be, you have to be on your A game the entire time. You're not going to be able to keep spin out and brush the wall. If you come down and lose your track position one time, you're probably in a lot of trouble.
I think the better question is, do you run that last straightaway a little bit differently? But with the blocks that were happening and everything taking place there, do you
just hook them?
Do you do that a little bit differently? I mean, it's something to think about to a certain extent, and I don't know. I watched it numerous times. I don't think it would have mattered. I don't think he was far enough up to be able to even if you hook him. I think he still beats you to the stripe. So, and Christopher kind of said that in his post race interview that he felt like it wasn't going to matter. Whatever he did right there. When he went high and Larson went high to block him, and then he went low. They brushed bumpers a little bit, but it wasn't. I don't think he was going to be able to get up far enough to where one of those blocks was going to cause it to happen
chaos.
that way. And it wasn't a situation where you just hold your ground and it's going to make any difference. I look at it as to what he said afterwards. What he's going to relive is going to be all those moments like you guys just mentioned of, well, if I would have got by this traffic a little better. But you could do that about every lap of the race. Kyle Larson could have sat back and said, well, if I would have picked a little bit higher line through 3 and 4, he never would have got to me. Or if I would have, done things a little differently. At the end of the day, it was a huge opportunity. And you're going to think about that every lap from now until Martinsville, whether if you lock into Phoenix or whatever happens over the next 2 weeks, it'll be on your mind for sure.
Well, Freddie, back to your comment around whoever does well in Vegas typically will win or do well, go for a championship in Phoenix. I mean, is this a sure sign that if Christopher makes championship 4, he has a really high probability of potentially getting that championship?
Well, no, not necessarily, because he still has to put all of his focus into Homestead and Martinsville right now. Where Larson, what we're saying is when the guy wins when the guy wins Vegas, he essentially doesn't have to care about Homestead and Martinsville anymore. He can just solely focus on Phoenix and go run all of his test laps there, and his engineers can run all their sims based strictly on Phoenix. Where now these guys have to focus on the next 2 weeks because you're 3 points out. You need to be the best you could possibly be at Homestead, and if you don't win Homestead, you need to be the best you could possibly be at Martinsville. So there's really no correlation in how well you run at Vegas versus how well you're going to run at Phoenix, except for the fact that you can just divulge more time into getting ready for Phoenix.
Kyle Larson's basically on vacation for 2 weeks. He has no stress.
Yeah,
There's no stress on Kyle right now.
Does he ever have stress? Does he really ever have stress? Because
you might not see it.
You don't see it very often.
And I listened to Gluck's, and we're 3 of us are huge sports fans. And Gluck kind of related it to the way the baseball players are playing out right now. Like some of the top teams got knocked out in the first round because they had a week off or whatever it was. And I don't see a correlation to that in our sport because it'd be one thing. It'd be me telling the Bills, all right, you get the rest of the weeks off, but you're playing the Giants in the Super Bowl. Well, guess what? The Giants got to play everybody else and get ready for everybody else, but the Bills are just getting ready for the Giants. So they're going to know every game plan. They're going to know the Giants inside and out versus the Giants are getting ready to play the Packers in the next round, and then you get such a head start on just getting ready for one race, one run, one setup, whatever it is. That I don't see a correlation in we see it in football, baseball. Sometimes they come off a bye a little bit slow, whatever it is, but you don't know your opponent beforehand. You don't know there's not one thing you can just focus on. I just got to get ready for this, like you do at Phoenix.
Yeah, I agree. I just think, like you said, they're gonna they're going to pick through all the data and stuff with fine-tooth comb now even more. So, but that's I've been on a team that was in that position, and there is nothing easier than the next two races. You walk in there, everyone in the playoffs is like, you can tell
On
they're
edge, yeah.
on edge, yeah. And you if you already have that win in the bag, you're walking around like nothing can bother you. So
Stress factor.
it's very good. It's nice.
NASCAR penalizes multiple drivers for hanging back on the restart. Spot on, spot off, TJ.
I mean, I'm spot on for policing it. I didn't see it, so I don't know how bad it was. I think Freddie saw it because he was right there.
Chase
so.
was behind it. Chase got it, and I guess AJ got it. I didn't hear AJ's, but I believe you when you tell me it happened. Yeah, Chase was definitely laid back on us, and when we got a little stacked up on a restart, so it probably made it worse. But he definitely laid back, and that's what you want, especially now coming down to the end of the year, because Phoenix is going to be a big deal for this. You know, Phoenix is the one where you could lay back and have a massive run down that, you know, cut, and that's going to be one. I'll talk about it right now because it's going to come up in Phoenix.
100%.
People are going to get out of line before the start-finish line in Phoenix.
Are we going to police it or not? That's
yeah,
all I want to know.
Because we can bank on it right now, Monday morning or Sunday morning if it's Xfinity race, or Saturday morning
Well,
after
hold
the
on.
truck race.
They can't get out of line before the start finish
Yes,
line.
they
The way the dog leg is, you're going to hit the start finish line.
But I'm just
that's cut and dry. That's
It
right,
should
there
be,
It is.
but you've seen as many pictures as I had where there's a guy next to a guy. I've told you 100 times that I've said, remember, don't change lanes to the stripe, and I call out the restart line. I'm sorry, not the restart line, the start finish line every restart. Usually, like and you know, you're at the line now,
100%.
And I go in this one, you're at the line now inside. Yeah. Like, how is that?
I was getting ready to say the exact same thing. Almost every restart, you're waiting, you're trying to do the right thing, you're waiting for that line, but somebody always gets inside of you. And how that's possible, you can even go back and look at it. Like,
pictures, yeah.
And I don't know how, like, it needs to be a cut and dry deal. Like, if you hit that box or put a box right there, if you're left side, just like pit deal, they do it for that. If you cut it, you need to be penalized. I think that was – I've seen more of that stuff than probably that was worse than Chase's restart.
It's like it's essentially it's very relatable to don't lock bumpers in the trucks in Xfinity at the end of the race. It happens every race, but they don't ever call it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see it. I'm telling you right now, whether it's Saturday morning after the truck race, Sunday morning after the Xfinity, or Monday morning after Cup, there will be some picture somewhere of somebody getting out of line too soon and not getting called.
We had to serve 2 penalties for we weren't even sure we missed the chicane. Like it was on the edge of it, but we had a stop on the track penalty and a drive-through penalty for that, and we lost ground. I mean, we didn't even make it through there. People are actually using this and gaining ground because you're passing a guy already before the start-finish line. So, like Freddie said, you get to that line, you think, oh, yeah, I nailed it. You're to the line now inside. You're like, how is this even possible?
I didn't see, the 2 that happened this weekend. You could see them, but it was really tough, like on the shots to where you could see it to fully understand. The one to me looked like there was a stack up, which I guess that was Chase's. That looked like it made it look worse than what it was, and I almost felt like even had he not been laying back as what they said he was doing, he was still probably going to have a run on that stack up no matter what. I do think, all that aside, like, man, more rules where we're going to take judgment calls, and somebody's going to not be happy about it, and somebody's going to...
Shouldn't be a judgment call. It should be just like pitting. If your tires hit that box
but,
or whatever.
But the laying back is
But
hard.
we're not talking about... We're not talking about... Yeah, like the line... To me, I thought the line was pretty much cut dry. Like, you got the line on the bottom of the track, you got the start-finish line, you can't cross over till you get beyond that. I thought here lately that's been pretty cut dry. I haven't seen the pictures that you're talking about at Phoenix.
Phoenix, it's pretty rough.
I believe you because you see it more than I do. I'm just...
It's bad.
In my head, I always thought that was kind of cut dry. Now, to the outside, that's a whole nother story, right? Like when they jump to the outside, okay, do you have to wait until your whole car's over the start-finish line? Do you have to? And had the guys that got penalized this weekend not jumped to the outside, had they stayed in line, would they have gotten penalized? Where I think the dilemma is going to come is going to be, okay, what is the exact gap? Is it a half a car width or car length? Excuse me. Is it a full car length? Is it where do we draw that line? Because now, okay, let's get them all back to where they're bumper to bumper. Somebody missed a shift and we wreck half the field. Now we got another problem. Or somebody goes late in the restart line, as we saw when we extended the restarts earlier this year. So feel like it's just this moving target of where do we want to be with this?
And you can manipulate it. If I
You
want to,
absolutely
I
can.
could back up, leave a gap, and they tell you to close up like, exit of 4. They want you side by side. Well, what's to stop me from laying back a little bit, and then I just throttle up right before we get to 4, and the guy behind me now has a gap, and
And he doesn't even
and he
realize
doesn't like he's not he's asleep at the wheel. Now he's going to get a penalty because I did it. Like it's just it has to happen because you can't let guys lay back. But there's going to be so many instances where you call one, but then there's going to be 3 examples of somebody else doing the same exact thing that didn't get called. So it's hard. But I like the fact that I think they're just showing, okay, we're going to make this call. This is what we see. We see it in football. Like every year, there's a rule in football that they go, all right, we're gonna call this every week. And right now, it's an eligible man downfield for whatever reason. There's 10 of them a game.
I get a kick out of it. We're making this call now. We've started doing it the past month now,
yeah.
give or take a little bit, and we're making this call now the past month. This has been going on for 30 plus years, right? Like this has been going on. Now, honestly, what are we, 75 years in NASCAR right now? This has been going on for 75 years.
Yeah.
So why now? And I guess it goes back to what we're saying earlier, that everything is just so close and so even that this stuff matters more now. Those 2 spots on that restart, are more critical if you get them.
Yeah,
All of a
I mean,
sudden,
if
you've set up your run completely different.
If you're running 3 mile an hour faster than the guy at the end of the restart zone, like that guy's a sitting duck now, So that's just that little bit of gap where you can, you guys counting you down to the restart zone and you can just roll with a little more momentum than the guy in front of you is, and now you're kind of a sitting duck.
For the longest time, I always thought, we need to, have drivers up there that make that call, right? But as I sit here between you two, I'm questioning myself on that. I'm thinking maybe we need spotters up there making those calls. Former, like when you guys get done spotting, you go up into the tower and you got another career afterwards.
I'm pretty sure NASCAR would never want to see a spotter anywhere near the control tower.
At least the 3 guys on this show.
I studied up, right? I haven't listened to a lot of the door bumper clears, and coming into this week here, knowing I was coming on, I listened to a couple of them, and I was fully prepared. As I look at these lights right now, I was fully prepared for just about anything, and I studied up on my French to make sure I knew what the language was and all that stuff.
You haven't been taking any pills, have you?
Oh, here we go.
I try to skip those whenever possible. I'm not quite to that stage of life yet, but
Yeah, there you got Brett's new favorite thing, the French thing.
The French is, yeah.
Oh. Let's move on to the DVCA main, where we catch up on all the hot topics in dirt racing. And of course, would love to start things off by congratulating Jade Abedissian on her Extreme Outlaw Midget Championship. Really cool to see how much she's grown, and that series has done an incredible job, put on a great show all year, for sure.
Yeah, it's good. I've known Jade a little bit, just, obviously talking to Chad, and that's where she kind of learned her craft a little bit. She was obviously a really good micro outlaw, whatever you want to call that driver, then was always fast in the midget, always, really showed speed everywhere she went, and then just kind of had to learn her racecraft a little bit. And then she had a great year this year. Might have triggered the biggest midget pileup TJ's ever seen the other night. That's one way to win a championship. Like if somebody's got to gain points on you and you just wipe the whole field out. And I don't think she did it on purpose, but it was a huge wreck that we saw coming off of turn 4 yesterday.
I think all of her wins, though, definitely helped with the championship.
Oh, she is, everybody always asks us who's the next great female driver or whatnot. And right now Jade's got to be at the top of that list. I mean, like I said, she's always shown speed. I was at Millbridge one night, and she was running one of Chad's cars, and just there's no fear. There was somebody tried to squeeze her in the wall, and she just kept her foot in it, like rode up the wall and passed the guy down the front stretch, and I was like, holy like this kid's got no fear whatsoever.
No. Yeah,
so that's one step there, and I think that she's just super talented.
Yeah, I don't know her personally, but I've watched a lot of the races this year, and I mean she does not back down. Like she does some of the slide jobs that I've seen her pull. Like she's not scared.
No.
So really fun to watch.
Absolutely.
I don't know what the path is for her going forward. I don't know if she transitions to asphalt or does she stay in the the sprint car side
She's
of things.
a Toyota driver, so it depends where they.
But I mean, what if
put her.
she likes what she's doing? Or
She'll just have Toyota support. I mean,
Yep.
she'll be doing whatever she wants, really.
I know a lot of this is over my head right now because I don't follow that as closely as
Regan, you're about the same
everybody
height
here.
as me, a lot of stuff's over our heads.
Well, that's a fair statement.
Valid.
But the wreck that you guys are talking about, I just typed it in to try and find it, and I'm not getting it. And then I looked at what I was searching, and I thought twice about that.
Well, you can't Google midget pileup. That's not a good idea.
I was on
not recommended
on Twitter or X trying to do that, but I also have no service right now, so I'm kind of SOL either way.
Yeah, that wouldn't go well. Shout out also, buddy of mine, Logan Seavey, won the Silver Crown Championship yesterday. He's having a career year. Just super talented race car driver. Won the Silver Crown Championship. I think he's running away with the USAC Midget Championship right now.
Yep.
Won the Chili Bowl this year. Won Indiana Midget Week. I mean, or Sprint Week, I should say. I don't even know. It must have been Midget Week, I guess. But just a phenomenal year for him.
And, of course, Donnie Schatz getting his 311th career World of Outlaw win. I mean, talk about a season.
Oh, I mean, what else can you say about Donnie Schatz? I mean, the guy's ridiculous.
He's won the Outlaw Championship like 74 times.
It's 21 last week, 74 this week, TJ.
That's about the same to me.
That is a hell of a year.
That's a
That's
good
what,
run.
53 championships this year? That's impressive,
got
no
a
matter
lot,
what
man.
you're doing.
Does anybody know, and I'm sure I shouldn't put anybody on the spot like this, what's the Outlaw points look like right now? Because I know it was close between Brad and Gravel. I don't know. I think Brad
I'm
was starting
on
to put a
their
little bit of
Twitter.
distance.
Brad Sweet is up 68 points over Gravel.
68. They've got to be winding down, although they run 4,000 races. But
They
I know
have
that-
they have
Lucido-
Devil's Bowl this weekend, and then essentially,
just Charlotte.
then
after that?
Charlotte.
Oh, I'm going to go to Charlotte on probably Thursday night, I would assume, see my buddy Tyler race. And
When is that this week?
it's
it's
Phoenix.
Yeah, I was
Phoenix
wondering.
Always
I'm gonna
Phoenix
go down
race
there, too.
weekend.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. I'm sure I'll see some friends down there. But that's always Strickler, who I'm trying to avoid now for all costs. He's running that late model that weekend.
What do they call him?
Kyle, the what is it? The high side tickler, Kyle Strickler. What
Okay,
a name!
Brett.
Like
I
what
know.
a perfect.
Brett would call him that.
Brett would call him something else, but yeah. But I mean, I wonder who came up with that. Like, cause I've met him probably 10 years ago, and he already had the nickname. Like, he was one of them, like the IMCA modifieds or whatever.
Yeah.
But, so
I think it's funny how a lot of the when I watch the dirt races and stuff, the announcers, they use nicknames a lot.
oh, that's all they got is nickname.
Yeah,
everybody's got a nickname.
Everyone's got a nickname, and it's some of them are kind of funny, but some of them you hear for the first time, and you're like, wonder how you earned that name.
like Brad.
What's the backstory there?
Yes.
like Brad, the big cat. Like
Yeah, like
you ever
Brady.
seen-
Why is Brady Bacon the macho man? Last time I saw him get in a fight, he ran around the car from a guy. That's not a macho man.
It's interesting for sure.
Well, can't forget to mention Millbridge this week.
God
of
forbid.
course
we
not.
don't mention
And,
Millbridge.
I just
and
realized we made Millbridge a drinking game during Dale Jr. and
We
Friends,
did.
and we didn't
not
say
say it
it.
one
We didn't
time.
say it
totally
once
forgot.
after that.
Probably the drinking that
And
did it.
if you are interested in Millbridge, don't let me butcher this. Ashley Burnett, is that her name?
Yes.
Ashley Burnett did a great job last week on the
Yeah,
Dale Jr.
Business
Download, which
Motorsports.
was the Business of Motorsports with Kelly and Mike. So if you want to learn more about Millbridge, go listen to that episode because it was really good.
Highly recommend. Yeah, that was a great episode if you want to learn more about
Casey's
Millbridge
favorite
and their story.
episode ever, probably, if I had to guess.
Yeah, with Kelly on it, of course. And Dirt Vision's where it's at between this show starting on Wednesday, Devil's Bowl Friday, tons more local races that you can all catch on Dirt Vision.
Freddie, I got to quit. Were you hot yesterday?
Yes.
It was way hotter than what I remember seeing the temperature supposed to be.
Yeah.
I saw
didn't
like mid-70s.
I didn't factor that into my Saturday plans very well. I would have probably went to
When
bed
I
a
looked
little
at
bit
the
earlier.
weather, it
Your
was like
Saturday
mid-70s,
or your
man.
Friday
Yeah,
or your
or
Thursday
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
It was super, super hot, though.
So it's weird out there, and I know you know this firsthand.
Oh, yeah.
You've been out there plenty to know it also. Like everything's like 20 degrees different. Like it's either 20 degrees hotter than you feel like it should be, or if it's 50 in the desert, it feels like it's 20. If
Yeah.
it's 70,
Yep.
it feels like it's 90. Like it's just a different world out there.
What was the year we had the sandstorm? You guys remember
yeah,
that?
Yes.
Yeah, we watched it.
I remember the flag being like
Holy
leaned over down
moly.
the back straightaway. There was so much wind.
you could see it coming.
yeah.
I mean, that racetrack every year it's something. Whether it's heat, whether it's cold. To your point, sandstorms, snow.
Supposed
I think
to
it
be,
snowed out there before when we were there.
Oh, yeah. It's supposed to be hot this weekend, I think. So I have a cool shirt to try.
Somebody,
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all.
So somebody reached out.
You got to plug it into the battery pack and everything. They're gonna have to carry it up to the roof for you.
It's like the size of a small cooler. I'm just gonna use it as a cooler.
I'm gonna need 2 of them probably.
I don't know. Me and Herm are gonna try them. So.
I mean, you're serious.
Oh yeah, somebody sent us.
It's literally just the tight. You hang it on the rail, but you want to walk away, just unplug the 2 little hoses, and you're done.
You're wearing a cool suit to
Dude,
spot.
Why don't you come stand on the roof of Texas a few weeks ago and let me know how long you're up there?
Wow.
It's everybody.
You don't look like a guy that likes the sun to me.
Listen, somebody in
I don't like the sun, but I mean, I'll deal with it. I'll go roast with the best of them.
We do.
We have entered a new era where spotters have to wear cool suits. Are we going to take oxygen up there
really?
too?
So
Or are you going to
just-
pipe that in?
Have you listened to the episodes where they complain about wanting shade up there? I mean, anything else?
Listen, I never say cool suit. I say cool shirt.
It's a cool suit, essentially.
Listen, you want to hear that? How many times did you say, "Oh, my AC's not working in the car"? How many times we hear drivers complain about that?
I always get told, it's hot in here. It's probably loud too. Deal with it.
Listen,
That's what I was
luckily, I'm in peak physical condition, so I'm
know.
not going to need a cool suit
Well,
this week. But
I guess that's my point.
Fine,
Freddie's
Freddie.
not taking a cool suit up there.
I'm very confused.
are you trying to say if anybody is, it should be me?
I mean,
Where are
I
you?
wasn't saying it, but I was saying it.
Where are you seeing that it's going to be hot? It's in the 80s. That's not hot for
85
Florida.
is brutal in Florida.
In
Let me
Florida?
tell you, it's 20 degrees hotter than 8. No, I'm joking.
Let me tell you, it's not the fact
humidity
that,
is pretty
It's
bad
not the fact that you're saying the temperature is not really the problem. It's just the direct sunlight at that time. Like, in Texas when it was 99 degrees? Are you ever going to go to a beach and stand out there for 4 hours with no umbrella or anything? Absolutely not.
You guys are on the roof. You got a breeze. Think about the guys that are down on pit road. There's no breeze. It's
Thank
I'll
you.
tell you. You know what? I'll tell you what.
stagnant air.
I'll
They
tell
got
you
shade.
what. Here's the deal. Here's one
Not
person
sometimes
I didn't
today.
think about that I feel worse for than anybody in the sport the other day.
Flagman.
The flagman.
I know. I look at it all the
The
time.
flag.
he's got the wind coming off the car.
But he's got a full helmet, a full
That's
face
true.
helmet, a fire suit. Like
Yeah,
the guys on, like I was like the pit crew guys are screwed because they got fire suits on, but they can go find shade somewhere or fans, whatever. We don't have to wear. We can wear shorts and a t-shirt if we have to. Like we're not in the. But that flag man or flag person, I
Yeah,
should say.
I know.
It's helmet, suit, everything. Probably underwear. I don't know if it's required for
Roasting.
the. They're just baking
Yeah.
up there.
I just hope whoever takes this cool suit up to the roof
Shirt.
for TJ, whoever does it, I
I'm
hope
gonna take it
I
myself.
hope that they reverse wire it, like what happens in the car
Bakes 'em,
sometimes
just
there, where it
bakes
just
'em.
pumps the hot water through the thing the whole time.
It'll be all right. I'll just unplug it.
I mean, listen, it can be miserable up there, but I don't think I'm going to go to the point of the cool suit.
I'm gonna bring it.
Does
I'm
not
gonna
surprise
enjoy
me at all.
Hey guys,
I'm gonna enjoy it too. Hopefully,
You let us know how that goes.
I'm going to.
Moving on to Reaction Theater.
hey guys, I know you've been really after getting that ED read from the download guys, but maybe you should try to get on the PD ads that NBC's running this week. Did you know 1 out of 10 guys has a curved pit road? I never knew.
Is that an ad? Really? Are you serious?
Yeah, it's Peyronie's disease.
Are you waiting? Hold on.
Did you
Yeah.
just
I thought that
did you
guy-
search that?
I thought that guy
No,
made
I
that
It's an
up.
ad if you watch the
It
broadcast.
plays
It
like
is, it is.
every
It straightens your pit road out.
yeah.
Also,
no surgery required.
also-
Freddie, you sounded way too interested about
No,
straightening
I mean,
your pit
I just-
road out.
Like,
you
how
know?
does this?
he's gonna have to.
That
listen
sounded
to the
more
podcast
like
again.
dumbfounded.
you were saying. It straightens your pit road
Yeah.
out. Like giving us more
shout-
info than we needed right there.
Shout out to during the Dale Jr. and Friends show on Friday. We did get a few of those questions, and we obviously did not get to answer them. But yes, shout out to whoever submitted those questions.
What kind of questions?
Pit road questions.
The length of pit road.
They
and
wanted to know the length of our pit road and the TV. Oh Jesus!
I think one
What a bunch
was
of
one
freaks.
was the length of pit road at Millbridge. One was
I mean,
I can go on and on.
what's the side effects for that kind of pill? You think? Like, what if it goes the other way?
Because I've never thought about that. They're all right. That commercial they're blasting that commercial. I don't have as much problem with that as I do like with kids. Right? They're playing some commercials right now on all TV stations that are like they'll give me bad dreams. Like, and I'm like, how? And like, maybe it's because it's Halloween time. I don't know. But like, you know, my little girl, she's got all these dolls. She plays with dolls nonstop. I bet you we got 200 of them in the house. And every time I watch the race, I've got to tell the kids, close your eyes, at least 20 times a race because there's a Chucky doll on TV trying to stab somebody. And I'm like, how is this okay for TV right now? Now, the younger me would have not thought twice about that, but now I do.
Oh, man. Well, okay, well.
PD.
If you got PD, so take whatever that stuff is. Maybe we get them as a sponsor.
TJ's awful quiet right now.
I just listen. This is. We can get off the rails real quick on this one.
Well,
are you the mature adult in the room? Because I know I've seen otherwise.
No.
Maybe it was fitting because Vegas does have a pretty decent curve
It's a
to their
curved
pit road, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
The whole thing's curved
maybe
too.
it's just-
Do you
Curves a little
think
bit more at the end.
on brand.
Homestead's pretty much the straightest pit road
Yeah,
down
it's a
the
straight
circuit.
pit. They might have
so
pulled our ad for this week.
maybe their ad's working. We're talking about it right now. I mean,
Somebody's using the material for good use.
Freddie, this is Carrie. I met you at Big Al's, and I am married to RJ, the idiot. I can't believe you typed his phone number wrong in your phone, and I missed out on a live session. We were even at Dale Jr. Motorsports today. How can I get an invite back?
We can make that happen anytime you're back in town. That's fine.
Maybe reach out to me or Andrew over these guys.
Well, no. What are you talking about? I gave the guy my phone. He typed his number in wrong. There's nothing else I can do for him.
I'd like to blame Freddie, but that's not really Freddie's fault.
It's my fault. The guy typed his number in wrong, Casey.
how?
she did say you typed it in wrong.
No,
though.
I didn't type it in. I handed him my phone because that's
Yeah,
possible. If it would be my fault if he was reading it out because I go, I probably typed it in wrong. But I always make sure that I go, here you go, bud.
Yeah.
Put your number in there
That's
so
a
that
safe
I
way.
don't have to do anything. And I text him, and as soon as I text him, it said message not delivered. I was like, this guy probably put his number in my phone wrong. But thankfully, when I got back from a week in Vegas, the first thing I seen when I walk in the studio is a half gallon of Fireball. So I really appreciate that, RJ. And he sent me his phone number, so I should go compare it and
See how close
and
it
see
is.
how
Yeah.
close
It's
he
probably
was.
one number
Yeah,
off.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Now that's you ever you just randomly text anybody? You ever done that?
Just like
Just
a
pick
random ass number.
Yeah, just send a
No, I
message.
don't.
Hey, the deal's. Hey, it's been done. Forget you know me. Something like that.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, you just.
You ever get in like an elevator and just like make a super out of context conversation with
Oh, I
people
do that
in
all
there?
the time. I always get in there with a bunch of people, and I'm like, man, I hope I don't break again. And then you see people kind of turn around. And look.
I used to mess with people all the time in elevators, and then I got on an elevator in Kansas at
broke?
DoubleTree. No, and there was a soccer tournament going on, like a bunch of 10-year-old girls, and they got in the elevator with me, and I was like, just sitting there talking. And on the way out, it was like a 50-something floor hotel, and on the way out, they hit every button. And I was like, these
On purpose?
little-
It's
like
oh yeah,
that was awesome.
they just. I was like, they got me. I'm not messing with nobody in elevators anymore. Like,
Oh my gosh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I had to get off. Like it was like 50 floors, and they hit everybody. I was like, I gotta get off and get another elevator. Like I'm not taking this one all the way.
Did you
up.
think to yourself like, I just what did you think?
I was
about?
like, I thought it was great. Like I was like, sons of. Like they got on like on the third floor, and it's like I should have known because it was like 4 little 10-year-old girls giggling and they got up. They went up one floor, and then on the way out, they're just like boom all the way. I'm like,
What do you think they were saying to each other? Those girls. They were like, "Hey, watch this! Look at that! Look at that creep! Watch this!"
Best part is it took them literally one floor of an elevator ride to figure out what's taken all of us many years to figure about Freddie.
you don't want to be near me.
Yeah, just go ahead and do it right from the start.
Watch us ship this guy to the roof.
Oh man, it was. I'm like, you got it. On the way out, I didn't even. I'm like, just close your eyes and laugh. Like I'm like, son of a, they got me.
Just got in from one heck of a weekend in Vegas. My goodness, kicking it off with meeting my favorite driver, Dale Jr. of all time. Got to see Freddie and Brett. It was a joy to meet them. Even got to see Andrew. TJ, I guess he was big league. I don't know. He was the hardest one to get to meet. But anyway, awesome night, awesome show. Loved it. Thank you, and see y'all later.
The
Holla.
guy don't realize he met you. You just up Dale's ass at the point. But he probably,
I was just looking for my gift cards. Just looking for my gift cards. Man.
oh man, the show.
That story
was,
changed so many times. By the way, I was never offered a $500 gift card.
there was a lot of inaccuracies between what you told us and what they told us. I don't know
Yeah.
how. There's always 3 sides to every story, and we got to get to
Now,
the bottom.
I
of
can
this.
tell you right now, Would you like? We're not. You're just back into it again.
I think
No,
Dale
keep
needs
going.
to
So
Oh,
here,
I don't know
so,
this
so
story.
Regan
I wanna
doesn't
hear
know.
this.
Dale tried to pay TJ with a gift to spot a late model race with a gift
And
card. to Lowe's.
every race that I've done with him, he's just giving me some little bit of whatever. I don't even ask. He just like, all right, here's a little bit of cash, whatever. This time, Stefan comes up to me. I went to Florence with him, whole day, a day off. I went to race Florence with him for fun. And Stefan comes up to me, the next day, and he's like, hey, I got a gift card for you for last night. I'm like, what? Gift card? Yeah, he's like $250 for. He's like, I know, I'm just doing what I'm told. I'm like, okay, well, you can just keep it. And
TJ's above gift cards. He doesn't.
well,
want 'em.
yeah, I mean, and so I'm kind of like, I thought it was a joke. It was kind of that along that lines. And then Stefan, I guess Andrew passes Stefan in the hallway that week, and he's got like a stack of these things, like just whatever. And I'm like, I don't want it unless I know he went and bought it, actually cared about, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
well, the gift card doesn't matter if you have someone go and buy them all for you and hand them out. Like, it's not a true gift from them, you know. To me, anyway. I'm like, if I'd have known he walked in there and bought that gift card, I'd have taken a $50 gift card. If I know he went in there and took 10 minutes out of his day to do that or whatever,
How do you know he didn't?
because Steven Stefan did it.
Did he tell you?
When's the last time you seen Dale Jr. go to Lowe's and buy 50 gift cards? or
He
whatever?
said he
Just
said he
saying.
admitted it on the show. But it's kind of biased because like you're sharing your story and Dale's not here to defend himself to
Yeah.
all the
It's
people
better
who are
that way.
listening.
It's way better though. It doesn't
I
matter.
think
Dale
needs
was there
come
to
on.
defend him
Yeah.
live in Vegas.
He
so.
could offer me a $5 gift card, and everyone's gonna side with him. It's not gonna matter. I've been down this road. I know how it works. I know how this
Hey,
works.
Listen,
Thanks,
the
Junior.
one thing you could say, thanks, Junior, which I can't believe Dale never heard that before, but
he
you know,
doesn't
TJ
listen.
stands for thanks, Junior. Did you know that?
I have heard that.
Dale didn't. Dale
Everyone's
heard it for
heard
the first
that.
time on Friday, apparently.
And thank you to Westgate, by the way, for
Oh.
allowing us to share those stories because
Thank
these
you.
are stories
No
that
thanks
we
for the
will
gift card.
have
Thank
forever.
you, Judy, Heather from Westgate with that whole sports management side of things. The people at the resort themselves setting up the stages, everything was unbelievable. If you were
Freddie's
a
outfit, he looked like
whose outfit?
yours. You look like
Oh, I
Yeah,
look good.
Freddie, you
I
look like
they
you
said I look
came
like I put a
straight
button-down shirt on. I look like a waiter.
You had a button-down shirt on?
I did, believe it or not.
Do you own one?
Yeah, I do now.
Dude, he
I had to
looked
buy
like-
one on
Mike
Friday.
Davis
Borrow
did
it?
tip him. He did get tipped.
I did get tipped when I got out. Mike Davis gave me $1 for delivering his steak. But listen, like if you're a Dale Jr. fan and we do that again, you're gonna want. That was just Dale telling stories for hours. And like if it was I've heard stories I've never heard before, stories Brett, who's known him for 20 years, never heard before. Maybe even some TJ didn't know. Like just so many stories that, and there's more.
Oh
There's
my
more-
God.
There's a lot more that didn't get told for the next time.
There
So
were a ton that did not get
Yeah.
told.
Listen, if that's not even the.
we could have
just
done
the
6
beginning.
hours of it,
We
but
could have done a whole show on our trip.
hopefully
to
we do it
Vegas.
again. And like to that point, like if you came to this one, you're gonna want to come to the next one because you don't know
gonna
what's
be
going to
different.
come up. You
Yeah.
know, it's not gonna.
He
We're not
told
just going to repeat
stories-
the same stories over and over again.
He told stories that I didn't think that I've honestly have stayed away from because I wasn't sure.
The funniest part about it was, like we talked about
We
it
weren't
earlier,
gonna-
we weren't going to
we
drop
didn't- we
names.
weren't gonna name
we're not
names.
going to name names. We're
Yeah.
not going to name names. And right out the first story, Dale's like, so and so, and I'm like, well, I thought we weren't naming
Yeah,
names. He's like, it'll be fine.
He's like, our buddy Hovis, and then Josh. Like, we're gonna use names, I guess now.
You're just waiting until he gets down to your name at that point. Oh, boy.
No, his answer was, "You made me take, or I took a shot and you asked me." Like,
Oh,
We
that
did do
was
it, which
priceless.
I have a one bone to pick with somebody from the Dale Jr. and Friends show. Mike Davis. We all came out.
You
We
trying to get us
all
fired
did yeah.
again?
Yeah, that's fine. We all came out. We all did a shot, right? We every one of us, including Dale, which I was shocked about. But
Yep.
we go back for a break there to do the meet and greet, and we come back, and I realize Mike took like the smallest sip ever out of his
I saw it.
shot.
We saw it sitting
his
there.
bottle with Fireball was still sitting
Yeah.
there with almost. I was very
Yeah.
disappointed in our boss there. So next Dirty Mo Live and Friends, he's got to do 2.
Freddie, not only that, but there was a water laid out for me on the bar.
Oh, listen to this. This is great.
Yeah, there's a water laid out for me on the bar. Tiff's like, grab that. It's the first one on the end. Like, that's yours. I'm like, all right, perfect. So I go out. Casey and I do our whole intros, and I don't have a chance to go and drink that water until everyone's sitting down. And I realized Mike took that water that was for me. So I'm like, all right, there's another clear drink right next to it. That must be another water.
Oh.
And to
Guess what it wasn't.
it was not a water, vodka soda.
Worked
So
out
wait,
good for
I
you.
think- I think
He's training for an Ironman. He's like, I'm not drinking anything out here.
No, I think Mike did put it back because he looked at me and he's like, "This was not what I ordered." Whoever was our bartender, you failed, but it all
No,
worked out.
Mike. It was Mike's fault. He took the wrong cup.
Oh.
I got the
It
right
was-
one.
it was
I'm
fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and hopefully we do it again, and hopefully you can make it. But yeah, to Casey's point, thank you to Westgate. Thank you for everybody in here. Andrew, Micah, Dustin, Tiff, Colby, you guys were phenomenal. We didn't have to. We showed up, and it was smooth sailing from there. I don't know if I forgot anybody. I didn't forget anybody there, did I?
Thanks for all the snacks in that room.
Snacks. Thank God for. I was hungover. I was supremely hungover, and I was like, I got to mix a drink. So I made. I don't even know what the hell I made first. It was like a Red Bull vodka.
something.
I took
Yeah, I
one
think
sip.
so.
I was like, nope, that ain't it. I put that down, and then I found a beer. I jugged a beer, and I was like, okay, now I'm feeling a little bit better, and I can at least go out there and not throw up on people.
Do you
So,
want for the next one of these? You want a cool shirt for that? Or
Yeah.
I
depends
might.
on where we're at.
Just
Yeah,
to-
might need
just
a
to
might
be
need a
safe.
might need a warm. I'll tell you what, it was hot out there too. But those lights are hot. But yeah, but no, it was such a good time, and hopefully we get to do it again sometime.
We got 2 more calls. This is an update from our Blaney friend.
Oh boy.
Oh, the hot tub.
Well, go 12.
That's it.
That's it.
You know that we got a group of Blaney fans that say they're all in the hot tub together.
Yeah, they called one. He was on a string of bad races, and the guy's like, "I'm just gonna get in the tub and bring a toaster, and it's over."
Drink
Like,
some beers.
I'm drinking beer in the tub, drowning my sorrows, and every week now we get an update from him. Go 12.
Well,
Yep.
we have a fan who's not happy at Ryan Blaney.
Uh-oh.
He's having a bad day.
I'd like to rescind my earlier request as a Seatbelt fan to go into the Blaney hot tub, because him and his illegal car. You know what? His hot tub's probably illegal too. Cost us a point. That mother. Him and his fans and their illegal ass hot tubs. I don't want to be anywhere near it. I want legal hot tubs. And dumping people for the win. Bell's too nice. You should have just.
Wow.
We got some fans, but I'll tell you right now,
Wow.
that's a diehard right there. He's on the Christopher Bell bandwagon like nobody else.
I will be sure to let him know.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
That I'm so sorry. I mean, he has
That's a
a great
bad day.
shot. He has a great shot at
He's
the
gonna be
championship
okay.
for. It's fine. It's fine.
it's okay.
There-
It'll be okay.
There was a lot.
I sure hope so for that guy's mental health.
Can you please call us next week and so
Yeah.
just let us know you're still with us?
There's a lot to unpack on that one call. Like
I mean, we got to waterworks at the end there, I feel like.
it went from anger to that was a
Sorrow.
Quick, that was
It
a quick turn.
a
quick turn.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't see that turn coming at the end of that call. That was.
It's a twist.
That's it.
That's all.
Wow.
That's a good.
That's a
week.
good one to
That's
end
a
on,
good
though.
Ask DBC. Hey,
Well, we're gonna-
to leave a message on the show, call our number 704-802-9572. Andrew will keep picking the best ones each week.
It's the sleep at the wheel over
Dude,
there.
she has been.
I got a text at the same time.
No, you've been looking
I
at
was
your
looking
phone
at
for
y'all
like
like, are we
2
supposed to be
minutes.
talking
Okay,
about
yeah,
I got
right.
an idea.
Let's-
It was supposed to be Casey doing that read.
Let's move on to Ask DBC.
Good idea.
Vegas, guys. First question is from the Real Deal Anil. Right now, for up and coming drivers, would you rather be in a middle tier Cup car or in a top tier Xfinity car? Great question.
I think it is a great question, and there's some people right now that are making this decision. I think, and I think that if I was this person and I was helping this person, I'd tell them to get in a top tier Xfinity car. You know, especially some of the top tier Xfinity cars that are open right now. We don't know who's driving the Gibbs cars. You hear a Sheldon Creed rumor. You hear rumors about other guys, and that's a car that can go out there and win 5 races next year easily with the right person in it. So, you know, I'd say I'd rather see John Hunter laid this map out, you know, a couple years ago where he went from that front row car where he was doing pretty well. He was running 15th, 20ish, which is good for that team. But he went back and rebuilt his career on winning truck races, winning Xfinity races, and now he's going to come back with a Legacy Motor Club next year in a Toyota, you know, program deal. But I think right now, like, winning is everything in the sport, in my opinion. No, you could probably make a little bit more money maybe with the step up to Cup, maybe mid tier. But if you go out there and perform, the little bit more money you're making this year, you know, you're going to win a bunch of races and get, when you go to Cup, you're going to make even more money in a couple years. So
your outlook is much better. If you're winning, you're relevant. and if you keep winning, the rides are going to get better and better and better. In my opinion, if you go into the Cup Series and you run mid pack, your stock isn't going up. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on your stage of your career too, right? Like you got to look at that also. I would say for a young guy or a younger guy, take the Xfinity car. Go
100%.
out and win races and figure out how to dominate races and be up front every week and do that. I don't know who you're alluding to. I'm not sure that I know who you're alluding to there.
Well, it could be anybody. Could be Sheldon Creed. There's a number of guys. Could be anybody. But listen, this
I know,
is
for
relatable.
context, I'm trying to figure
this
this
is
out in my brain
relatable.
right now,
this
though.
is relatable to you as well, because I don't remember all the details of your career, where you were at financially, whatever. But you were in the '78 car. You won a race, and then eventually had to make the decision to go run and compete for more win. Won a bunch of races at Junior Motorsports. You went back and ran the Xfinity Series versus just there's a lot of guys that try to hang on to the Cup deal versus. All right, you know what? I can just go back here and enjoy. Allgaier is a perfect example in the same car. Like you can go back and be more competitive and win races.
Well, and I think that's why it matters what stage of your career at, right? Like there's certain guys where I'd say stay in Xfinity. Like why even mess around? Now it also matters too. Here's the other thing I think that matters different. When I was doing it, there was a big spread in the cars. I didn't realize until I left JRM or until I got done at JRM. And went back, last minute and did the deal in the Cup Series for I guess it would have been 2016 season. I didn't realize that gap kept growing, right, in terms of the cars and what you could make up as a driver. Like when I went and drove Tommy's car in 2016, Tommy Baldwin's car, I felt like I was at the top, peak of my driving ability right then. And I thought, okay, if I can help him get 5 or 6 more spots a race, then yeah, I'm doing my job. That wasn't a reality. Like you couldn't make up that gap. I think the difference is now, and the cars were very different. That was the old school or the old generation car. Now all of a sudden we got this car that's got a lot more similarities that you can make up a little bit more as a driver. You can help out a little bit more or at least that's what I see anyway. So that's why I say, I guess it depends on the team. It depends on the structure. It depends on, mid-tier now. Well, what is mid-tier? Because I feel like that mid-tier has grown to where now mid-tier's 10th to 30th potentially. And you can mix a lot of guys up more so as to how they run there. So
now what if, to change it up a little bit, because I think there are a few guys such as Ryan Truex who had a few starts in a top-tier Xfinity car. And then full-time middle tier.
I say the same thing. Win races.
Yeah, but Ryan Truex, if he could get a full-time Cup ride in a mid-tier Cup car, he doesn't have a full-time Xfinity ride.
Yeah,
right now. He's
for
winning
sure.
races,
right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
That's what I was saying. Is he's winning races, but he's only running part-time for Xfinity. Is that still the same? Whereas he is still as relevant as somebody else.
How many races did he win? How many won?
One.
Yeah, that's to me.
You have to go out and
But
win
he's
more
been
consistent.
up front every time he's in that
Right.
Gibbs Xfinity
His
car. He's
name is
fast.
there. You see him there.
Right.
Yeah, when he is on track.
If let's just say we're talking Ryan Truex right now, and you've got that, you got that option to hop in a Cup car full time. You take the full time opportunity. Like and I know we're not talking him right now, but I'm just using that as an example. You absolutely take the full time opportunity.
Let me ask you this, and I don't know. I'm not really sure which way I go on this either way. So Martin's coming to the end of his career at some point. We all agree. I think in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. And
I'd love to see him win the championship and just mic drop it
see
out. I want to see somebody do it. I don't care who it is. Just somebody, damn it, do it.
So we'll use Ryan and forget the fact that they're related, but just Ryan is a good example of. So Ryan this year says, all right, I'm going to go run the 10, whatever. The 10's not going to be super competitive next year. It's going to be a 15th, 20th place car, probably weekly, depending on who drives it. Now Martin goes out and says, all right, at the end of 2024, I'm retiring. And Ryan's sitting there and runs 20th every week in a Cup car, 25th, whatever it is, maybe worse, versus Ryan goes out and wins 6 Xfinity races. Which scenario is more likely to get Ryan to fill Martin's seat? It's going to be going out and winning the races in a part-time schedule, I think, versus he's going to be more on their radar if he's going out here, I'm going to go out here and win every start I'm in or run top 5 and win a couple versus, we got Ryan, but, he's ran a year of Cup and he's run 25th every week. Like, I understand what you're saying. Like, it's if you don't have any opportunity, the mid-tier Cup opportunity is a better opportunity, but if you're trying to get to here, the route to there is through winning races.
I think, yeah, but you're.
There's a lot that goes into it.
I was going to say, as we say that, you also got to think about the fact, okay, well, JGR, Toyota affiliated, they're going to look at their drivers that they have in the pipeline as well.
Yeah.
So you got to factor that in as well. I mean, I think everybody's going to have their own scenario of what works best for them and what can get them there. And rather, I think
it's all timing, though, too.
And we,
What's open at the time.
We saw
Everything's
this.
timing.
I know people were upset with us because we didn't talk about this last week, and it was probably just for the fact that I forgot about it. But Haley Deegan, we've seen she announced full-time at Xfinity Series. And they're like, what has she done to deserve to get out of the Truck Series? And they're like, what do you talk about? The Truck Series is so much more equipment dependent versus, you can show talent. I think the Truck Series better prepares you for Cup racing right now just because of how, sensitive the aero package is. But, she is kind of plateaued.
We're going to find that out next year.
Yeah, she's kind
of
got
two of them.
She's kind of plateaued in her truck career. Like, she's kind of showed you what she is there, and it is what it is. Like, if she has the opportunity to step up, and why wouldn't somebody give Haley Deegan the opportunity to get in their race cars? She's obviously going to put a lot of eyes to your team. There's going to be sponsorship dollars coming in. And now she has the next opportunity to go out there and prove that she belongs and show. I think the Xfinity Series, if you're a talented race car driver, you could show that talent a lot more in the Xfinity Series versus the Truck Series. So, I have no issues with her moving up. That's she had an opportunity to have sponsorship behind her, and she's going to have a chance to go out there and prove what she can do. Now, if she goes out there and runs, 20th, 25th again next year, then that's probably where her career is going to stall out. She's not going to get any higher than that. But it is what it is, and there's nothing wrong with taking that next step because what she's doing in the Truck Series isn't going to get her anywhere right now.
I think the only thing in terms of Truck Series and what she's doing there that you want to maybe see is just a little bit of that, maybe run up front consistency just a little bit, right? So that you get that experience of what it is like to run up front and what's different there. The racing's a lot different, right? If you're up in the top 5 than it is if you're 10th and on back. Sure. So as that's the one thing that I think I'd like to see out of any of them as they move up is just that ability to be up there. It doesn't mean you got to finish there, just to be able to show that you know how to run there and that you can get to that spot. Even as different as the air is, as different as the racing is, because it's still running up front in any series is going to be different.
But I also think for her situation too, you say in the next year how she runs, I think that team has also made changes to continue improving, continue growing. So I think it might, the fact that she signed a multi-year deal shows that, they're willing to grow and improve together, where it may not be next year that she's seeing the top 5s, but obviously they're making the right changes, similar, Freddie, to what you mentioned with a few other Cup teams too. So should be.
And that team, we got to remember also, that's a brand new team, right? Yeah. They've only got 1 year of Xfinity under their belts right now. And all things considered, they came out of the gates pretty hot for a brand new team. I felt like they did a really nice job. And they were a truck team prior to that. And still, I think they still do some of the truck stuff here and there.
I think so, yeah.
But they did a nice job of evolving that program.
Well, and they went out and got the guy they needed. That Brett Moffitt is really talented race car driver, and he can make stuff happen sometimes. They had an issue this week. Something's wrong. I don't know. He was really slow this week. I don't know what the problem was, but Brett is very capable of taking a car and maybe running it like you talked about. 5 or 6 spots better than where it might be running.
Right.
So that's if he's not back there, that hurts her. I think because then you still, like we always talk about, you need that A guy. You need the like Stuart Haas losing Kevin Harvick next year is really going to hurt them. You need that guy to compare and go, okay, well, we know it's not the cars because Kevin's running top 10 with the same stuff. So if you have a Moffitt there and a Haley, at least gives her a benchmark of, all right, well, here's Brett, here's where you need to be, and here's Brett that can help you get there. Here's what Brett's doing. We have all this SMT data you can compare in the same car, apples to apples, what you got. So hopefully he's be able to stay there and at least on a part-time basis or something. But hopefully that's the case for them. But yeah, to your point, they've run really well for a brand new team.
Moving on to the next question from Mark. And this is for Regan. Did Tony Stewart force you below the yellow line at Talladega?
Knew that was going to come at some point, huh? I mean, yes. Yes, period. I felt that way then. I feel this way. I still feel that way today, yes. The only answer to that question is what happened when Brad, stayed his ground the next race we went there. Who was it with? Carl.
It was with Carl, yeah.
Yeah, well, That's the answer.
Which would you prefer? You want a guy.
There was paint on the nose of the race car to where there was contact, and I went to the bottom. There was he had that bright yellow race car that day, and yeah. I mean, I don't know how
that's another judgment call rule because we've seen that recently. I think it was the Talladega truck race where guys were forcing each other under the line and didn't get called. And
they were calling it different back then. There was a shift that happened on that particular moment back then. We'd sit in the drivers' meetings and number one, it had never been called if anybody went down below a line. I think it was even truck races. I think earlier that year there had been some instances where it was questionable and they didn't do anything about it, and you were always under the impression if you get forced down there, just go for it. Like, what am I going to do? Okay, I got forced down there. I'm going to lift and finish second when I'm staring at the start-finish line. Like, okay, yeah, good idea, guys.
Yeah.
Hindsight, should have just wrecked him, and it would have been fine. But honestly, probably I would have to think probably Menard would have won the race because if I turn him, we lose our momentum, and Paul was back there. Who knows? Maybe I don't know. We'll never know.
Never know.
Well,
yeah. I thought it was a BS call back then. I still think it's a BS call. Right
Mark, thanks for bringing up old. Now he's gonna be in a bad mood the rest of the day.
I was happy. Now I'm pissed off.
On that. So obviously, you've made a name for yourself in broadcasting and with your career now. I mean, can we ever see you back in the car?
I don't know. It's weird because there was a period right when I started doing the TV stuff to where. Yeah, I loved hopping in stuff when I could, and it was fun to still stay in it. I think the challenge for me right now is, like, the first year I did TV, I ended up hopping in the 95 car for the second half of the year. And just being out that first half of the year, I realized, like, holy cow, like, I'm behind, right? Like, as a driver, I'm behind, and I got to get caught back up, and I got to figure a lot of stuff out again. And, I mean, heck, I haven't even driven anything now since, 2019, I think was the last time I drove anything. And my kids all the time, Dad, go drive something again, Dad, which none of my kids are old enough to understand, that what they watch on TV with me on the weekends that, yeah, I once did that. And, so there's times where I'm like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. If I can't, here's where it got here. Like when I had the TV opportunity, I was at a weird spot in the career in terms of, I didn't have anything full time and you kind of sit there and wait and see if somebody calls and you go fill in for them and you do all these fill-in roles. And it got to the point where, when they threw the TV option out there and I got to thinking about it, I had always told myself, like, I'm not going to just go hop in something just to be out there and to be, 35th every week just to keep my name in there. So I'd gotten to the point where I'm like, man, I hate waiting on, I don't want to say waiting on somebody to have an issue, but that's what it almost felt like, was you're waiting on somebody to have an issue, and the TV thing popped up. So I was like, yeah, let's try that for a year. And there was still stuff that would pop up that I could hop in and I could go do. Well, now as time has gone on and I haven't hopped in stuff for a while, I'm like, well, I don't know if I can give somebody my all in terms of time and in terms of going out there and giving the effort that I feel like, and I won't do it if I can't give 100%, right? And if I can't give the, heck, just getting back in shape, I'd need 2 cool suits also, TJ, just to be able to make it through a race. So, all that little stuff, that I factor all that into it. Do I still want to drive stuff? Absolutely. I mean, I love driving. There's nothing, even just going out to GoPro and goofing off on go-karts out there, like there's nothing like putting a helmet on your head and going out there and doing it. And I'm certainly never going to say never. I never used the R word, so I never did use that word. And if something makes sense, I love road racing, so I'd probably be more prone to do something like that.
Fun stuff.
Moving on to What an Idiot. Who you guys got?
Whew, I had a little list this week. Almost had to give it to TJ's wife. She asked me a question that was pretty dumb, but it turned out she just left the word out, so I was like, okay.
Welcome to my world.
I posted a picture of us on the marquee, and it was on my story somewhere, I don't know, Instagram or something, and she replied and said, somebody should get a picture of that. And I was like, Tamala, what the do you think that is? But then she just...
Really? You had to call her out on the show?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. But she didn't mean, she meant to say at night. And I knew what she meant because I said, I have to get a picture of it at night. And she said, that's what I meant. I said, yeah, I know. But it's still fun to pick on her a little bit.
I live with it, man. Don't worry.
I did see, now I should have checked with Kyle about this. But they spelled High Limit Racing wrong on the High Limit Championship trophy. There was no I in racing. Now nowadays there might be slang that I'm not aware of, or they have to shorten stuff up. So that might have been on purpose, but I doubt it. But TJ, I think the one we got to talk about in depth is I don't know if you saw the finish to the Winchester 400 yesterday.
I did see.
Did you see any of this?
I didn't,
late
no.
model race. So Stephen Nasse, who I love, I think his personality is what we need in the sport at times. You know, you need a guy that's kind of edgy, and they call him whatever it is, nasty and classy Nasse.
Yeah.
He led a majority of the race. I think he was in position to win, got a late caution, chose the outside, and then Ruggiero kind of squeezed him up into the fence and got gone, took off, and won the race. And Nasse was upset after the fact, in which if you choose the top, you're putting yourself at the mercy of the guy in the bottom. But then what happened was they pull into victory lane. Nasse comes up next to him, pulls next to him and gets into it. And Nasse's crew guys are on the front stretch. I think it was his dad are going into the window of the Ruggiero car, and Gio drops it in gear and does his burnout and knocks Nasse's dad flying down the front straightaway. And like it's a scary situation when you see it happen. You're seeing it happen, and Nasse's calling out Gio for doing that, but Gio can't hit your dad if he's not out on the racetrack trying to get in the kid's window or trying to do whatever it is, So my one idiot has to go to these crew members that, first of all, let the guys fight. Like if Nasse wants to get out and fight Gio, or Gio wants to fight, let that happen. But to go over to a car, we've seen this in the modified world. A kid just got thrown out of every racetrack and series in modifieds because his team jumped the kid while he was in the car, and their dad's beating on him with helmets. If the drivers want to fight, let them fight. The crew members should not be involved. I always say that about the fights on pit road. Like, the guys that should get thrown out are the ones that jump in or take shots at drivers. Like, I know it's a scary situation, and Gio probably needs to be smarter about, because you could really hurt somebody, but you can't get hurt if you're not out there trying to get in the kid's window while while obviously there's some high tension going on. So while I love Steven, and I think he's a really good race car driver, and I shoot the shit with him every once in a while, like, if I'm going to call anybody an idiot in this situation, it's going to be the dad for trying to get into the kid's window while we're out there celebrating victory lane.
I do want to call out, I just looked at the picture from the high limit, and I don't see an error, so I think you...
Well, that's not surprising that you don't see an error.
Okay.
The picture somebody sent me, so unless it was Photoshop, the picture
I think it was
sent
Photoshop because I remember seeing that thread. But I'm just looking at the picture of Larson. I'm not saying anything.
Hey, speaking to the Winchester thing, I didn't see it, so I can't speak to that particular instance at all. But for a while, do you guys remember, didn't we used to park the cars on the front stretch? And this was after I was done driving, so it had to have been within the past 4 or 5 years. I remember we used to park them on the front stretch and let everybody get out of the cars. And no crew members could go to the drivers other than maybe somebody to bring a water or something like that. And there was like a 2 or 3 minute period where it was kind of like a cool down period, right? Like, when did we get away from that? Because now it's like everybody's at the cars right away again.
Immediately.
But that would clean some of this up. Give those guys a few minutes to go see each other, talk about it, hash it out. Don't let anybody up to them, and some of that stuff, like, we did it with good intentions, and then it just kind of slowly starts to go away. Like, and I don't know why that is, but I think that's an easy way to clean that up, right?
And we see
it all series. I don't care if it's the Cup level or Millbridge. I don't care where it is. Like,
and we saw, unfortunately, after that deal with Tony in upstate, New York, it was as strict as it could possibly be about guys going anywhere. When you got out of the race car on the racetrack after that, every series across the country, short track, dirt, whatever it was, there was do not go anywhere. Get out of the car, you get in the ambulance, or you get out of the car, you get in the little vehicle and drive off, whatever it is. Don't go out there. Now I see it every week now. You see it starting to slack off a little bit where there's a guy walking down the racetrack. He's going to flip the guy off, or like we've seen this 1,000 times. We need to be protected from ourselves because we will do dumb shit. I've seen us do it. So you need to keep strict rules on this, and you can't have people, and maybe it's the series fault. Maybe it's whoever runs Winchester 400 now needs to do a better job of keeping them off of the racetrack, and maybe that's what Steven was getting at. But at the same point, you don't need to be out there if you're the driver's dad or whoever, crew member, crew chief, whatever it is. You don't need to be out there trying to get in the kid's window as he's trying to celebrate probably the biggest win of his life. And I know he didn't. Honestly, it wasn't like he went in there and they you run the top at Winchester. It's a really super high bank racetrack. He just goes in there and just kind of squeezes them a little bit. I could pull a video.
I've run there. I love Winchester's a great racetrack.
I didn't think when I looked at it, somebody sent me the video and I was like, something else must have happened to piss Steven off that much.
Well, didn't that happen also in the ARCA race not too long ago? I forget. I know it was Jesse Love and somebody else that were racing, and one of them got up into the fence, and it ended their night. That happens. It's racing.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm not, same thing, just like Martinsville. I am not going to win the race
Being
from
a
the
nice
outside and being a nice guy. You're not going to win the race. So I just don't know why, I don't know.
Did you have an idiot? Did you pick one?
I mean, I don't know who the guy is, but I saw some guy mouth off to one of the workers at the Cosmo, and the security guy did not like it very well. And that guy,
that probably didn't work out good for him.
It did not work out very good at all. It was really bad. Like, he was cussing at the guy. I don't even know what he was cussing at, but the guy was obviously really drunk. And man, that security guy just finally had enough. He says, all right. He just kind of put his stuff down so I walked over behind the guy, grabbed his arm, like whatever move he pulled, that guy was on the ground face down, just like that. And I'm standing there with Brad, and we're like, whoa, this is like happening right here in front of us. Like, most time you don't see stuff like that. But yeah, and then there was a whole group of I don't know what the group was, but there was a whole group of girls that had just come back from the pool, and it was like 4:00. And I mean, they had been at the pool all day, and I don't know if they saw the rest of their trip, because they come through the lobby and they're all holding each other up, sunglasses on, still walk, like they are in really bad shape. And like I don't know if they saw the rest of that evening. Like,
oh, I'm sure they didn't.
It's probably their first trip to Vegas, and they.
So Blake just sent me. There's two things I also want to touch on, but Blake just sent me, or one thing, and then Blake sent me this. Both Donnie Wilson haulers, who Gio drives for, had punctured tires yesterday after the race was over. So now you're not one idiot anymore. Now you're a piece of shit if you're going puncturing, especially on a hauler like that, where who knows if you get flat right there, or if it blows out down the road somewhere, you could potentially really hurt somebody. So that's really, really dumb. And then who knows who did it, but it's just obviously you can kind of, it's a hell of a coincidence.
Read between the lines.
I mean, I'm sure John from the stands watching the race didn't come down there.
But there was one I wanted to point out, and I'm not calling him an idiot, but he could have been a little bit nicer. We had Ty Gibbs had an issue, lost the wheel. Obviously, he was a couple laps down. He came out on a little bit fresher rubber and was our best friend. Like, he would just get on Bubba's bumper and just push us. We gained 2 or 3 spots at the end of the race because of him. But there was a group in front of us that we were running down, and it was the 22 and the 17. And the 17, who is a playoff car, is racing the 22, and the 22 is blocking the shit out of the 17. And I'm laughing, and poor Herm standing next to me. I could see steam coming out of his ears. And you would think, like, Ford, like, maybe we don't need to race the guy in the playoffs as hard as we possibly can at this point in the race. And we were probably a lap from catching them. Like, if he would have held him up, because I think Chris finally got around him with maybe 2 or 3 to go. If he didn't get around them, we were probably going to pass both of them, because we were literally, Ty and Bubba would just run opposite lines in the corner and then get together on the front stretch and just basically tandem and just run people down. And I was dying laughing, because I'm like, Joey is going to cost the 17 not only the one spot he should give him right now. I mean, now you don't see you got to give him, but he was actively blocking, like it was that Kansas race with Harvick a couple of years ago.
I know that one well.
I was like, what is he doing? But that's not an idiot. You're not an idiot for doing that. But you could have helped your buddy out a little bit more than that. I think
there was a few moves like that like I looked off a 4 one time, and I saw the 17 was getting on the outside of the 10, and the 10 was just like, nah, I'm just going to keep coming up, and you're either going to lift or you're going to right side your car. Like, why? I mean, I just don't understand things like that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
playoffs, man. It's the
playoffs. Yeah, anybody you want to call an idiot? I mean,
I don't know. I guess I didn't. I thought I prepared for everything. I didn't know I had to call somebody an idiot. The only one that comes to mind right now off the top of my head is Brett for not being here on a Monday.
That's typical.
What
I think
an idiot.
we all would support that idiot.
Yeah,
So
we're
that
past
sounds
the
great.
idiot part with him.
I can check. Let me see somebody. I'll pick somebody for you here, because I'm beating you by 60 points right now in fantasy
I
football.
figured that was coming. I knew that was coming at some point. Yeah.
You don't really have anybody that didn't show up. I guess maybe your own running back, Javonte Williams. There it is. Only got 7 points.
My fantasy football teams they're a debacle
well,
right now.
You're 4-1 in my league, so it's not like they're terrible.
Yeah, but if you look at the team, it's a
not
matter
good.
of time till I'm about 6-4 here.
All right, before we start getting tweets about how this isn't a football
it's
show, moving on to DBC picks. Congratulations to Brett, right? to Brett
Yeah.
for his DVC win or picks win. We are going to Homestead, and TJ, you get to pick first.
I'll take Reddick.
Good pick. I'll take Larson.
Brett's the only one that can catch me still, so.
I just got to get out of last so Casey's got to buy dinner.
Wait, I'm confused. I thought
You thought what?
How doesn't last pick first?
The last place finished from the race.
Did you think you had a shot at winning it still? Please tell me that's not
no,
the case.
no,
Okay, good.
no.
Oh, she
Who I
thought
was
she
gonna
thought she's the only
pick.
one that had Larson left.
Yeah, I did. I have no idea. I guess I'm picking.
She just prepared all week. Like, I'm just gonna be able to pick Larson, no matter.
I totally did plan that. That really screwed me there. I guess I'll pick
I'm in last.
Christopher.
Bell.
Yeah.
Pusher, Bell, which one?
Brett picks William Byron.
All right. I just need to get out of last place. So last place, whoever finishes last has to buy dinner. Which, by the way, our restaurant burned down yesterday. Epic.
What?
You see that? Epic.
No.
Epic. I don't know if it burned all the way down, but the kitchen was on fire last night. Bad, like a big fire. So we have to hope that's back in order by December, so that we
Might
can.
be better if it's not for you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry guys, we got to go to Burger King.
We'll go to Pie in the Sky, eat pizza.
Yeah, I had a picture. Let me see if I can find it.
That's not good.
No, it was pretty big.
I mean, that's right in the middle of Mooresville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, they'll fix that right up.
That's just a grease fire. It'll be
just a
all
little
right.
deal. I mean, there's firemen trying to break through the ceiling.
Okay, when they cut the roof, that's maybe more than grease fire there. Never mind. Take it back.
Yeah, if they're cutting a hole in the roof, that's probably not good.
Well, heading to Homestead. First
Who'd you
off,
pick? Who'd you pick?
I picked Larson.
Oh, Larson.
yeah.
Okay.
First off, what do you guys think about how F1 is in Austin and they start at 3 p.m. and we're in Miami and start at 3:30? What are we thinking ratings will look like here?
I mean, I don't think our ratings get affected by them at all.
No, I think that's a unique group.
I think their fault. You know, they should schedule around us if they're. But I mean,
It's not the first time this has happened.
No,
though. This happens all the time.
And I don't know how do they determine what the hell market they're trying to be relevant in?
I know.
Because like they're starting at 3:30 in home and
well, like
Austin.
Europe, that would be what, 6 hours?
Yeah, but so they're starting at 6:30 in Austin.
starting at midnight
and they're
in Vegas.
starting at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Local in Vegas.
Yeah, that one I didn't understand that one.
I think
when
I
saw
think that one I didn't realize this. Somebody was telling me this week they have to tear the track down every day while they're out there.
Oh,
so like
gosh.
we had Chicago shut down for the weekend
Yeah,
or whatever
right.
it was. They have to have the strip open back up every day. So they're going to be up and down. Whatever they practice, qualify, whatever they do. Then they got to open the strip back up and then
it's
close
all-
it again the
it's all
next day.
super late, I
So
think.
that's why I think that's why it's so late is because they're gonna have to, you can't run it in the middle of the day when strip is probably as max, max
That's miserable.
capacity.
Can you imagine the cleanup on that thing?
Did you?
Like,
I mean, the
ugh.
strip looks completely different.
Oh my gosh! Right in
Yeah.
front of the fountains, there is all blocked off.
Their pit area. I know they're not calling it a paddock right now anymore, but like their pit area looks so different. Like
Yeah,
it is really cool to
It's
see
gonna
it built
be a
from
really
scratch.
when they go down around that sphere and stuff like that. It's gonna be a neat track. So I'm excited to
I want
watch
to
it.
see the sphere. I
that
haven't
sphere
seen
is
that yet.
wild.
It
we
is,
saw
man.
I saw some pictures where they're trolling golfers
Yeah,
on a
with the
golf
guy
course
with the
now
ball-
with a
he
smiley
watches
face
the
watching
ball.
it. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Brett's recommendation was don't go. I don't know what the hell he's ever talking about, but said don't go to the Earth show or Earth postcard. He said the graphics are unbelievable. Moral of the story is Earth is screwed. We got to move to Saturn. And there's no way. Like
Is that
for
real
what-
time he's sending that? right now?
That was last night.
Oh, okay.
That was
All right.
midnight last night. But like for one, don't ever believe anything Brett says. So that's a start. So if I was you, I'd go to the show and see what happens. But yeah, it's interesting how his take can be swayed at times. But yeah,
I am curious. Going forward, it seems like we could find a way for the series to all work together, right?
yeah.
Like
and we see it
to
with IndyCar too. At times.
even if you're 2 hours apart, or I think IndyCar for the most part
but I'm saying
they
it
all work
happens
together
every
on
once
that.
in a while where we end up similar.
I
Start
mean, you may
times.
have some scenarios to where it's just
have
it's
choice.
unavoidable,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know for example, the Vegas scenario. I guess it sounds like they have to be during the nighttime is the only time they're allowed to race. But I don't know why you start those races back to back. But who knows? That's why I'm not in that position.
Yeah, no doubt. Where are we going? Homestead?
We are. Well, I think we've already said, who will be our top contenders, obviously.
All three back this week? What we got this week?
All three.
All three
there. I think, do we have this one with all three and Phoenix with all three? I don't.
Which I hate the fact
No,
that the
trucks-
trucks don't go to Martinsville.
I
Like,
know.
I don't understand. I mean, I think is it back next year? I think I've seen that maybe. But like that truck race at Martinsville is like one of the best races of the year every year. And for whatever reason it came, there's no reason why we can't do all three out there. We have, especially with lights now. I mean, this year there's a modified race. I think Thursday night and Friday night there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's just truck. I think maybe
Xfinity
Xfinity practice for 20
Yeah.
minutes that we're gonna have to drive up there for and back. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to Homestead. I'll still die on this hill that Homestead should be the final race of the year every year. I think I love going down there. It was always fun to go down. I feel like everybody went down Tuesday or Wednesdays, went to the Keys, they're fishing trips, or go to South Beach and hang out for a day or two to kind of celebrate the year being over if you weren't in the playoffs. But yeah, and it's a racy racetrack. I think a place where the fastest car can go out there and win the race. I've said on here numerous times where if you got a good car, you can move around enough to get where you need to be instead of being locked into one lane. But
I think it needs to move every year.
I agree.
I mean, that's my personal opinion.
I think that I would be fine if it's just the final three tracks,
Yeah.
and some kind of rotation, or just make it a three. I still think it's a 3-race playoff. Then you don't have such an emphasis on one place. A 3-race Final Four.
Yeah, 3 races to me though it does away with that Game 7 moment.
Oh,
also, which
Yeah, agreed.
we've looked for that for a while, right?
I agree.
Maybe 2 you can make an argument. So but then how do you say if somebody wins the first one and somebody else wins the second one? Like,
Yeah, it's just
how do you?
it would just be points in my opinion.
Yeah,
And I know it.
and-
I know, and that's just because it's just that I'm just trying to get back to can we just run all year on points? That's I'm getting more like I harp on here and I beat a dead horse. I hate the fact that we saw it yesterday. Whoever won that race off pit road at the end of the race was going to win that race. If Bell comes off ahead of the 5, the 20 wins. The 5 wins the race because he
Not
came
if
off
there
pit
was
road
one more
first.
lap.
But I'm saying, he came off of pit road first. If the 20 comes off pit road first, does Larson ever see him again?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the beauty. We don't know.
Oh, yeah, I
like
agree.
Larson may have gotten by him, and then maybe Bell's closer, and he doesn't have to run him down from as far back. Obviously, he had a better long run car, right?
But if that's Phoenix, the guy that wins the race off pit road. Is winning the race.
I think that I'm of the belief it needs to move around every year. I've been that way
Yeah,
for a
I
while.
agree. I agree.
We're so limited on tracks that we can go to that time of the year. Also, there lies the next problem that you can't go to enough places to really truly move it around. But I do think it needs to be something kind of like a Super Bowl. It goes different places,
every year.
different seasons.
Well, thank you, of course, for stepping in for Brett because, you really stepped it up with our replacement. So.
Well, I don't know about stepping it up. I'm just sad I didn't get to hear whatever Brett had to say today.
He'll make sure he says it on Twitter later.
Yeah, he'll be easy to find.
We'll have no problem getting that out.
He'll be back, unfortunately, next week, I assume. But yeah, I appreciate you coming by. We've been talking about this for a while, and I really wish it would have been that Monday morning.
I probably would have said enough stuff to get myself fired if it would have been that Monday morning. On a hangover, I say stuff I probably shouldn't say. Although
I wouldn't have been the only one in here feeling the way I did. But yeah, fun to have fun. I appreciate you coming by, and we look forward to seeing everybody at Homestead. I don't know who you truck racing this week.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Waiting to hear.
I know Greg got hurt the last race, so I don't even know who my
Who's
driver is.
are you spotting for Dale?
No, I'm over that.
Oh, okay.
he's all grown up.
Oh, retired.
Yeah.
So
Retired
sorry.
from spotting for Dale.
Yeah, well,
Is Dale run? I didn't realize Dale was running this week.
He
I forgot
runs
that.
this
he
yeah,
was
week.
there.
I'm not getting no gift card. I can tell you that.
Joey Meyer is going to spot again, and
Same guy ripped apart at Bristol a little while ago. We wrecked out, and I flipped over and just sat there and smiled.
You know what that's like.
I have a little bit of experience with it.
By the way, my Iron Man is this weekend.
Is it this weekend?
So I was gonna
This
say,
weekend.
shout out to
All right.
Andrew. Wishing.
So you're gonna slip me some.
I have to now change
You have to
my
go
what an idiot
change your
because
plans.
you're an idiot for running an Ironman. Or I don't even. What do you consider like doing an Ironman? Because you don't run an Ironman. You run, bike, swim.
Participating
You
in.
participate
I
in an
think
Ironman.
you could say you run it.
You run it.
Yeah,
What?
like how you run a race.
What happens after an Ironman, though?
Throw
like
up.
like you do all
Throw
this
up.
training to get ready for it. Then what do you do? Like you finish it off and you're done. Do you
I
just
can't
go?
wait. Vacation. Like no
Vacation?
More
How
training,
long?
no
How
more
long have you
training.
been preparing for this Ironman? Like legit. I know you. I'm sure you got a regimen. Like how long has this taken you to get ready for?
I've stayed in shape since January, but really diving into it end of July, beginning of August. It's been nonstop since then.
When would the three of us here have to start for an Ironman? And we'd have to start 2 years ago to even have a remote hope at it.
Yeah, I would just die. I'm not going to make it.
Yeah, I mean,
I would drown 5 feet into the swim. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
In 5 feet of water,
5
nonetheless.
feet of water, yeah. You can put your feet down. No, I'm tired. I can't do it.
What is the Ironman again? How many miles and stuff?
This one's a 70.3, so it's a 1.2 mile swim, 56 bike, and a 13.1 run.
1 mile swim.
Oh, there's a lot there that
And
I
you
don't
can,
like.
if you download the Ironman app, pick the Wilmington race, you can type my name in, and you'll get updates.
What day is this?
It's on Saturday.
God, Wilmington, it's gonna
we're
be
racing
that
all
water's
day
gonna be
Saturday.
cold.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be super fast.
But he's going to have these pills that the blood flows.
Yeah.
He's going to use TJ's cool shirt.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't swim on his back like a shark fin.
TJ was over here doing the math, trying to figure out if he could do an Ironman. I don't know, maybe I could do it. You also just told us you want a cool suit for the roof.
Yeah, man.
I don't think you're doing an Ironman,
I
TJ.
told him. I
I'm
told
not doing an
Andrew
Ironman
2
for
weeks
sure.
ago. Like,
I think I could do it though.
It's like 5 hours.
It just
you
take me
said?
a while.
Yeah, it'll be like 5.5, 5:40 is like the time I'm going
I can't
for.
sleep that long. So let alone try.
How long's the bike? Again?
Bike's 56
Oh
miles.
God, yeah, that's too far.
That's a lot.
God, you know how sore.
I'm not going to drive 56 miles this week.
I know.
I did one half marathon, and by the time that was over, I couldn't move for a week. Literally could not move for a week. Everything hurt, and I was like, why would anybody
I
put
plan
their
on
body
that.
through anything more than this?
So
Yeah,
I
plan
had
on
a
that
really,
being the
I had.
case.
No, you didn't run it with it. We did. Us spotter idiots. I had a really good half marathon experience. So we
Daytona?
Kansas.
Oh,
So Kansas, there's like 10 of us to decide we're going to run a 5K, and you know what spotters look like. They look majority like more so me than TJ. And
Tyler's in good shape. He does all that stuff.
Tyler was one of them. He was the ringleader.
Okay.
It was his fault, Tyler Green. So they're like, let's run this 5K. And I'm like, oh, what a terrible idea. But then Brett started doing it. So then there was like peer pressure. Dougie did it. There's a bunch of us. So we actually prepared for like probably a month or 2 months to like run a 5K. And I'm like, it's 3 miles. Like I could probably do 3 miles. I used to be athletic. It'd be fine. And so we take off, and there's a half marathon the same day. So it's a half marathon and a 5K in the same course. They just go out before us, and then they kind of try to finish within an hour of each other, I guess. So I go out, I run about a mile, and I hurt we all made the mistake of, we were in Dover the week before, and we ran on that track that's there, like the college that's across the street, that Delaware State or whatever the hell it is. And 3 of us really had hurt our knees. And somebody afterward facts like, well, you shouldn't have ran on a rubber track. And I'm like, well, I don't know anything. Nobody should have told me. Somebody should have told me this.
I haven't heard that.
So, okay, well, whatever.
I think rubber track would be like
Tony
cushion.
X Tony Hirschman about it because he got really injured. But he's also stupid. Like, we took off. I got about a mile in, hurt my knee, and I was like, well, I have to go. It was a Saturday night race. So it was Saturday morning of a Saturday. I'm like, I'm not going to be miserable all day because my leg hurts. So I'm just going to walk the rest of this 5K.
That I would have used that excuse too, Freddie.
So
good move.
So Hirschman gets hurt like the same spot, like the same mile, and then all you did with the 5K was you go up and turn around and come back. It was like a mile and a half, whatever, turn around, come back. So I see Hirsch coming back, and he's laboring, limping, still running. I'm like, what are you doing? Just stop. Like, don't hurt yourself. And he was hurt for weeks. He hurt his knee really bad. So my fat ass just goes walking. I'm just walking now. And there's a guy at the finish line with a microphone calling everybody out as they finish. And sure enough, I'm getting like from maybe a quarter mile away from the finish line, I hear like sirens and I'm like, what is that noise? And I look over my shoulder, and here comes old boy leading the half marathon. And I'm like, oh, So now I'm like stepping my pace up a little bit because I got to beat this guy at least. So sure enough, he beats me, right? He catches me and goes by me right at the line. And the picture, it's him crossing the line and me sitting there, P2. I was like, yeah, I finished second in the half marathon today, guys. Look, I got photo evidence. The guy's like, so-and-so wins the half marathon. And Freddie Kraft from Mooresville, North Carolina.
What year is this?
I don't even know. It was probably 5-6 years ago.
Yeah,
I don't remember who I was
want to
spotting
find the
for.
picture
Oh,
because
yeah,
they
we need to
post
find
those
that.
pictures.
Oh, I'm sure. It was I forget what the hell it is. The funniest part was Tyler Green's like, we all had rules. Like, are we going to run this 5K? And it was, yeah, I don't mind running a 5K, but it better be flat and straight. Like, I'm not.
super hilly.
So he's like, oh, yeah, this one's straight, no hills. Me and McMurray do it every year. I'm like, okay, cool. looked like there was like a whoop section. We were running up and down hills the whole. I'm like, I'm gonna kill Tyler. By the way, the whole time.
McMurray runs 12 miles a day just because he's bored.
Just because he wants
Like
to.
I see him out on Briley School Road every morning.
Every morning.
He's literally 12 miles into his day at 6 a.m. I'm like, what the heck?
Oh, well, he has nipple issues, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well now let's close out the show before we go any
that's a real
further.
thing.
Oh, I know. He went into it on detail. He has to run shirtless because he's got
Yeah.
nipple problems.
Or you just put. Never mind.
Yep.
Okay.
Band-aids.
Thank you
Anyway.
all so much for listening. I don't even know how to close this out because that was not expected. Have a great week.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
Yep,
for
thanks for
listening. See
joining.
everybody. See everybody Homestead. Thank you for coming to the live show. Hopefully, we'll do that some more. And thank you, Regan.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming by. Sorry if we got you in trouble.